Hello, gamers. You're listening to the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 90. And welcome back to another edition of the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. I'm Brent Felsing, and joining me tonight, everybody, Bender Holt, Ben Boyce, Frankie Ayler. Guys, we were just a busy crew this week. Frankie and I had to play Gears of War 4 at the beginning of the week. We went through the campaign, we beat the game, Yahoo, and then PlayStation VR comes out a couple days later, and it's just pandemonium. It's nonstop. Like, we had a ton of gaming to do this week. We were all in on PlayStation VR. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Boys, a lot of big titles coming out this week. What do we got coming out this week, buddy?
This week we keep the fall train rolling, of course, and the big guy now that Call of Duty and Gears of War out of the way is Battlefield. Battlefield returns to the gaming world with Battlefield 1 this Tuesday with the early enlister edition. So like we talked about before, this is probably a thing we're going to see more of. So get used to these early enlister editions. But the regular release of the game will come out on Friday. What do you got to pay to get into the early enlister? What is this? $20 extra?
$79.99.
What do you get with that besides the game early? Is there anything else in there?
Some battle packs.
Some battle packs. Cool. So for $20, grab some battle packs, get into the game early. Brent, I saw you playing a little bit of Battlefield 1 via the EA Access release that came out, was it Thursday? Something like that, Thursday or Friday. So you get the early access, you play multiplayer for 10 hours or whatever it is. You talk to us a little bit about Battlefield 1, what you took away from the EA Access version that you got to play.
I picked it up on Thursday. I played through the prologue at the beginning of the game. It's kind of a setup for you to play through. It's actually very, very good. I was really impressed with the prologue of the game. I'm actually much more interested in the campaign now. I have a little more hope for it. I talked about during the stream, as I was playing multiplayer, obviously Battlefield 3, Hardline, Battlefield 4 all had just terrible campaigns. Just completely weak writing, weak characters, disinteresting. Everything was just blah. Even the big-time set pieces were just kind of like, this has been done better elsewhere. But having played through the prologue here, this actually looks and sounds very, very good. Like the music is much different. It's a much more serene. It's a very more mature campaign from what I could tell early on. They're going to definitely go for a more effective story, more emphasis on the characters. It was a very cool prologue. I thought it was done very, very well. The action was intense. The controls were tight. Played through that, and then I got I think I got 2 or 3 matches in of multiplayer. The first one I want to say it was one of the maps from the beta.
Yeah, it was the Cyanide Desert map that you were on.
Yeah, the Cyanide Desert. But then the second map, do you remember what the name of it was? I don't have it.
Don't remember the name of it offhand. The village map. It was
very similar to the France map in Battlefield 3. That's like this, just you're in a city, and you got all these different streets to go down. These buildings are up and down the streets. It was a super cool map. I really enjoyed that, and the combat was tight. I got to work with a good crew that was calling out objectives, going to certain spots as a team, so that was really fun. Game plays and runs very well. There was one issue with the game, I noticed on the Cyanide map or whatever it was, in the areas where it was really condensed with buildings and a lot of people, a lot of explosions, there was some noticeable slowdown. But I didn't notice that on the France map, or the city map, whatever one that's called. I didn't notice any of it there, but on the outdoor map, there was some considerable slowdown, in crowded areas with a lot of buildings and a lot of people and a lot of stuff going on. But overall experience, I was really, really impressed with it. I had a really good time with it.
Now, the EA Access version, is that considered like final code for the game? So any slowdown that you experience there is probably going to be in the final game as well. You'd have to assume, right?
I would assume it, yeah, unless there's some kind of a patch. But like I said, it was a very isolated incidents. It wasn't like something that would consistently happen. It was just, I can't even remember. It was the same area that it happened. but it happened a couple times. But it wasn't anything like, oh my god, this is really bad. But I'm
Yeah,
sure that'll be something they can iron out in time.
yeah. Just watching the stream, I didn't really, just kind of glancing back and forth at it when I was at work. I don't remember seeing anything that was egregious or anything. So I don't think that'll be a
Mm-mm.
huge deal if it is an issue. We'll have to see if that crops up in the PlayStation 4 and the PC version as well. We'll see if that's like a reoccurring issue. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that second map you played in that village was freaking
Mm-hmm.
awesome. That was an
Yeah,
awesome
it
map.
was.
These maps are enormous.
Mm-hmm.
They can probably fit like 256 players. I mean, they fit 64 players comfortably, but they are massive
Mm-hmm.
maps. And that village is so dense. There's so many different passageways you can go through, so many different paths you can take. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's daunting to go into that thing. I mean, there could be people coming at you from 8 different directions. It's
Mm-hmm.
uh it's that's a super cool map. Game looks fantastic. I still maintain that of all the shooters that are coming out in at this time of the year, Battlefield 1 still is the one that interests me the most. I think it's the
Mm-hmm.
most interesting looking. I think it's the best looking one by far. And I just really like the World War One angle that they're taking with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Franklin, where you at on Battlefield 1, man? Is this something you're interested in at all?
Probably not. I don't know. I just of the shooters coming out, my interest still lies within Titanfall 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I might end up with Battlefield 1. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. Even if I do, though, I don't know when I'm gonna get around to it. My backlog is becoming quite daunting right now. We'll talk about some of that later with like VR stuff and whatnot, but I don't think it would be happening to Battlefield 1. If I do, it's not going to be this week.
Mm-hmm.
Bender, any interest in Battlefield 1? Just I know you don't typically get into these more realistic shooters, but this one has a little bit of a different angle with the World War One angle. Is this something that interests you at all?
Not particularly, honestly. I'm more into like the sci-fi type stuff. Like so, Titanfall 2 is probably something I'd be more prone to get into, but Battlefield 1 doesn't really appeal to me too much.
Cool. All right, Brent. So me and you will take this segment from here on out. Uh, so yeah, so Battlefield went out, and I'm interested. Now you said you've played through. I guess they gave you the prologue in the EA
Mm-hmm.
Access version. So what are we talking?
Mm-hmm.
Like a 20-minute mission here, or what is this? What does the
Yeah,
prologue
I'd say it was
consist of
about
essentially?
30 minutes. It was kind of cool how it played out. It lets you know at the beginning, okay, here's where you're going to be. And you're not. It says you're not expected to survive. And so you start off where you're kind of hunkered down in this building, this collapsed house, and you're getting surrounded by enemies. And it feels like kind of a horde mode at first, but it's not, obviously. And I'm trying to fight off as long as I can. I'm like, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die. And then I ended up dying. And it says like the character's name and then the dates. And then it moves to another person on the battlefield and explains a little more of what's going on. And first you were an infantry guy on the ground. Next character you're inside of a tank. And then as so you're controlling the tank, the gun inside. You're doing stuff like that. It kind of gets you acclimated to all the different types of roles and weapons as you're progressing along on the battlefield, just to kind of give you an idea of everything that's going on. Like I said, it was just very well done. It was really intense. The voice acting was really good. And it was just a very cool opening. Something that I'm not used to with the Battlefield game.
So like you said, the performance, the writing, the actual like presentation of the single
Yeah.
player campaign, from what you can tell, from what little you've played of the game via the prologue, seems like this is
Mhm.
going to be a marked improvement over what we've seen in recent Battlefield games.
From what I could tell, yeah.
Awesome. So that sounds good. We talked about what the campaign is going to consist of. Do they introduce you to all like 5 of the characters you're going to be playing as in that prologue, or?
I can't remember. I think they did. Yeah, at the end of the program, it was, these are the stories of these people, and then it'll show you pictures of, I believe, are some of the characters you're going to play as throughout the campaign.
Okay. Yeah, so we talked a little bit about what the campaign of Battlefield 1 is going to consist of. You're going to be kind of moving between these different theaters of war through these different characters that are going through different things in the war. I think that can be an interesting approach to this. So we'll have to see, how they carry it out. But promising to hear that at the very least the prologue sets up an interesting tale from the single
Mhm.
player campaign. Yeah, so single player is always iffy with Battlefield. You never know what you're gonna get from that. Multiplayer is pretty much a known quantity at this point. Like you're gonna get a pretty damn good experience. I really liked what I played in the beta. I liked watching you play on the EA Access version. Looks like multiplayer is going to be alive and thriving. I expect there'd be a ton of people in this game come Tuesday and Friday when it officially comes out. The buzz on this game is very positive, so this is going to be a huge game for EA. I'd expect millions and millions of copies of this game to be sold this holiday season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. One thing to note here, the rent a server program, which is the program that lets players customize what they play, including stuff like map rotations, game modes, gameplay tweaks. That is not going to be available at launch, but shortly after. So this is a program that's drummed up some interest in Battlefield players. We'll have to see how this is executed once it officially comes out. Won't be ready at launch, but shortly thereafter we can expect the rent a server program. So once,
the reason for that is normally EA has third parties handling those servers, but this time it's down to EA providing the servers instead of third parties. And with EA at the reins, this allows the company to secure the quality of actual hardware and same uniform experience. It also means, if anybody has any issues, they can contact EA support directly for help this time around.
Gotcha. Cool. So once again, early enlisters will get Battlefield 1 this Tuesday. Everybody else, stay tuned for this Friday when it'll release on the PS4 as well as the Xbox One and PC. So, shooter fan, I mean, this is the beginning of like the gauntlet here. We got Battlefield, Titanfall, Call of Duty, back to back to back. So, first-person shooter fans going to be very, very busy this holiday season. I'm really curious to see which one of these multiplayer components takes off as well. Like if any of these, Call of Duty is going to be good. Pretty much know Battlefield's going to have its fans there as well. And then it'll be interesting to see what goes on with Titanfall's multiplayer. So, really curious to see how this all plays out. But it starts here this week. Another big title this week, guys. Batman, Return to Arkham. Finally getting its release date here. This Tuesday for PS4 and Xbox One. This will, of course, house Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Two fantastic games. Still wish Arkham Origins was in there, but c'est la vie. Now, this is not just your ordinary reimagining or remaster of an older title for a current-gen system. They have gone in and they've put a completely new engine to these Batman games. Unreal Engine 4 is now going to be powering Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Unreal 4 was not even powering Arkham Knight last year. So this is the first time that Batman's been under an Unreal Engine 4. So I can't wait to see the results. I mean, the comparison video they showed looked great. This game looks like it looks awesome. I love these games. Like, these are two of my favorite games from the PS3 generation. Being a superhero fan just makes them that much greater. Bender, let me go to you on this one. You're a big Batman fan like myself. Are you going to be returning to Arkham this Tuesday?
I do want to get it eventually. I don't know if I'll get it right now, but I'm definitely going to get that and replay those at some point. I did see a comparison video, and they do look a lot better. They've vastly improved the graphics and everything. So those are fantastic games. I'll definitely go back to them. I just don't know if I have the money right now. I just dropped a lot of money on PSVR, so
yeah,
might have to wait on this one for a little while.
Yeah, we're feeling the VR pinch right now. I certainly am. So I'm there with you, man. Frankie, Return to Arkham. Any concern about the delays with this game and possibly some issues with getting this one on Unreal Engine 4, getting the frame rate stabilized? Any of that stuff going to come into play with this game, or are we pretty much in the clear now?
I honestly hope not. I wouldn't be surprised though coming out of the gate if there's still some lingering bugs, but hopefully the delay bought them the time to really get the games in a playable shape, at least to get them in the stores and get them out now when they are. So it sounded like WP was well prepared. Like, if it wasn't ready, they were going to delay it again. So you got to believe if they're bringing it out, it's at a quality point to bring out. So
yeah,
WP's been pretty, for the most part, pretty good with their releases on consoles. So
oh yeah,
I can only hope that that they got all that worked out. Everything's fine. These new remasters are do justice to the originals, and you're a big Batman fan as well. So I'm excited to hop back into those. I still haven't played through City, but man, Arkham Asylum is one of my favorite games from the last console generation. So, Jen's played through City. She loves City. Everyone's told me City's the better game. I don't doubt it is. I dabbled around with flying around the city, and that is a lot of fun. So I'm hoping I could find time somewhere to play through Arkham City. I definitely put it up on my radar above some of the stuff that's coming out here soon, but again, it's gonna boil down to time, and who knows.
Yeah, I mean the thing about Arkham Asylum is it was the first one. Like, not only was it the first game in the Arkham series, but it was the first time, especially in recent memory, that a superhero game came out and was of such a caliber that it just, it was something that gaming fans everywhere could get into and enjoy and just embrace as an excellent title. There were some Spider-Man games that were awesome, especially some of the ones on the PS1 and the PS2. But outside of that, it was tough to get a superhero game that was great. Much less a Batman game. I mean, there have been some terrible Batman games over the years. So the fact that Arkham Asylum came out, it was the game that it was. It really put you in the shoes of Batman like never before. I think that makes it a special game in and of itself. That it was the first time that we got to jump into this Arkham universe and experience what an awesome Batman game was like. And it was a great story too. We had Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, and the Scarecrow was awesome in there, and there's a lot of great stuff in Arkham Asylum. So I don't think um, you're misguided in saying that Arkham Asylum is your favorite. I think a lot of people feel that way with it being the first of its kind. I do
Hmm.
suggest that you get in there and play through Arkham City as well, because it is an awesome game.
Hmm.
There's no denying that Arkham Asylum is something special because it was the first one.
Not only that, it's just also like they had the animated series guys behind that story too. So it
Yeah.
was just WB like going full in on what a Batman game and a superhero game in general should be. So that just really set the bar really high for everything coming after that. So
Yep. Paul Dini was behind the storyline, actually for both of Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, which is why they were so damn good.
Mhm.
Brent, did you ever finish City and Asylum?
Oh yeah, I beat them both.
Okay. So what are you thinking now that Return to Arkham's coming out?
I haven't even played Batman VR yet, so I'm definitely not
Mm.
getting Return to Arkham anytime soon. But I will pick it up at some point. I'm with Frankie. Like don't get me wrong. I think Arkham City is a fantastic game, but the Scarecrow missions alone, the Scarecrow areas alone in Asylum were just incredible. And that's the one reason I want to go pick this thing up like right away on Tuesday is just to start Asylum, just to get to the Scarecrow levels. Those things were just so well done and just so eerie and so atmospheric. I would love to play those again right away. So I mean, I think City is a fantastic game, but I'm afraid Asylum is the one I really enjoyed the most because it was just the first time we got, like you said, an authentic, fantastic Batman game, and that one rocked. Like I loved Asylum, but I'm not picking it up this week. I still have to do Batman VR, but this is something that'll be on my radar down the road.
Bender, what's your favorite one
Um,
between these two?
between those two, probably City. I mean,
City.
I love Asylum as well, but City just kind of took everything and kicked it up a notch.
Hmm.
Everything's on a larger scale. Got more villains it seems like, and just a lot
Yeah.
more going on. So it's a fantastic game. But they're all great. I mean, all of the Arkham games I love.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. And once again, there's something very special about Asylum, but City, that's what it did. It took everything that was great about Arkham Asylum, and it took it to the next level. The story was even more epic. The villains were even more epic. It was, one of the greatest Joker stories ever told. Mister Freeze is one of my favorite Batman characters. Played a
Hmm.
prominent role in that story. Ra's al
Hmm.
Ghul, one of my favorite Batman characters, played a prominent role in that storyline, and it's it's almost like, and this is true of Arkham Knight as well, but it's like the perfect open world game for me. It's a sprawling, expansive section of Gotham City that they've sectioned off as Arkham City. So there's enough there that you're not gonna be like, man, I just keep going through the same areas over and over and over. It's a large enough space, but it's not too large to the fact where it gets overwhelming or too daunting. It
Hmm.
has it
Hmm.
has the right amount of side quests. It has the right amount of things you can do in the city. It has the right amount of story missions sprinkled throughout. So it's like the design of that game, and we see this in like Shadow of Mordor as well, and like I said in Arkham Knight. But these games that are open world, but they're contained, and they're not just so sprawling as to just drive someone who's OCD or somebody who wants to do everything in the game crazy. Like they're like the perfect length for me. So
Hmm.
I love the design of the Batman games. I can't wait to see where the franchise goes from here. So I'll be picking up Return to Arkham. Like you guys, I'm not sure when I'm gonna get to play. I mean, I've played through these games. It's some of my favorite games already. There's other things that we have to play this holiday season, but I'm curious to see what these games look like, and they're just fantastic games that are definitely worth adding to the PS4 collection. So that'll be out this Tuesday. Let's continue on to PS4 games here, guys. Lego Harry Potter collection brings together the 2 Lego Harry Potter games remastered for the PlayStation 4. This was an interesting announcement a few weeks ago when we found out this was coming out. Didn't see this one coming. Frankie, have you played these ones?
Nope.
No, I haven't played them either. Heard some good things about them. I know my kids have played through one of the Lego Harry Potter games. No, they really like it. So, the Lego games are almost always good. So I don't doubt that this will be any different. They always look fantastic on the PlayStation 4 too. I love the way the sheen is on the pieces, and they're just really cool looking games. So that'll be out this Tuesday. The Jackbox Party Pack Part 3. Not sure exactly what's in here, but if you're a fan of those games, check out the newest collection this Tuesday. Exist Archive: The Other Side of the Sky is in like a side-scrolling 2D RPG game. Very interesting story about making your way through the netherworld and trying to combat this like evil demon. So this one's coming to Vita as well. That'll be out this Tuesday. This one I think looks awesome. The Bug Butcher, a great name for this game. Super awesome art style. Very cartoony. Very clean lines on the animation. Animation just looks fantastic. Reminds me kind of like Alien Hominid in terms of the gameplay, but with maybe even a little bit higher octane, maybe like Contra or something like that. It's a fast-paced arcade side-scrolling shoot 'em up. The Bug Butcher. This is one I definitely want to play this week. And you guys check out the Bug Butcher at all? Watch this trailer.
Hmm.
I recommend taking a look at this game. I think it looks really rad. Maybe we'll fire that up sometime this week on the Short Pause channel. Hopiko coming out this week. Kind of a I don't know what you call this, a speed run game. These very fast paced levels with this cool pixel art style. You've got to make your way from point A to point B as fast as you can. Mordheim: City of the Damned brings the Games Workshop tabletop game to digital consoles. And then these Atari flashback games, which we mentioned a few shows ago, I think are officially coming out this week. So I think we're finally good in terms of putting them on the release list. But Atari Flashback Classics Volume 1, Volume 2, about 30 games on each collection. So pick these up if you're an Atari fan. Still waiting for these to come to Vita at some point as well, so we'll keep our eyes peeled for that. Rock Band getting its first paid DLC this week with the Rivals DLC. This is a big expansion for the game. Adds a whole new like VH1 behind the scenes kind of rockumentary single player campaign. It's got some new songs if you pre-order the game. It's also adding asynchronous multiplayer to Rock Band. So they've continuously updated the game not only with songs but with content updates monthly. They've been free updates from here on out. With the Rivals update, this is going to be their first paid expansion for the game. Sounds really cool. They some new instruments are going to be released too as part of their new partnership with PDP. Remember, we talked about this on the show a few months back, but the Mad Catz deal fell apart between them and Harmonix. PDP is now involved in the peripheral manufacturing for the game. So they've got some new peripherals coming out for them. Not sure if they're different anyway. I don't believe they are. It's kind of just their version of the guitar and drums and whatnot. But
I am so glad that I bought that whole kit and fired the game up one time.
way to go.
One time.
Nice grenade, Brent.
God.
When you said
I
they're
hate video games.
when you said they were adding new instruments, I was like new instruments, like bagpipes or something, like
Dude,
Yeah.
dude, if
different
they did
instrument?
bagpipes, I'd buy that. I love bagpipe music.
Dude, everybody's been waiting for Bagpipe Hero.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been a running request ever since Guitar Hero first came out.
Can we make this happen?
Yeah, these are the same instruments, just different manufacturer on them. So same
Oh, okay.
guitar, drum, all that kind of stuff, microphone.
Mm.
Not adding any new instruments like the French horn or anything like that. This is just the instruments we know and love with a new manufacturer, a little bit of a new look to them. I believe like I said, I believe all the technology is the same. I don't think they've changed anything in the instruments. But sounds like a cool pack. I believe this is $30 for those that already own Rock Band. Rock Band will be re-released in a Rivals edition, so you can go to the store, $60 will get you the Rock Band 4 plus Rivals DLC, so that's a pretty good deal. The new band kits, you're able to get the whole band kit for $199 now as well, so that's $50 cheaper than Rock Band 4 when it originally came out. So if you're looking to get back on the Rock Band train, this Tuesday is your ticket. Elder Scrolls Online, the One Tamriel update. is coming this Tuesday as well. If you guys remember, this is the one that kind of puts everybody on a level playing field in terms of the game world. Like there's no longer you are in this area, you're in that area, you can go wherever you want. And I don't know what does the game do, Brent? It kind of adjusts your level based on what party you're in. I don't know exactly how the system works, but there's basically no barriers to you playing this game and playing it with your friends, no matter what your level is. So if you're a new player, your friend's been in Tamriel for a while playing ESO nonstop, and you want to finally get in there, you're able to play with him together, and you guys can enjoy the content together in the game. So sounds like a cool concept. It's one of the barriers to MMOs that people run into all the time. It's like, dude, I haven't been playing this game. You've been playing this game every day for 3 years. Like, I'm way behind you. There's no way I could ever catch up. But this gives people a way to kind of get in there and play with their friends now. So I like that. I don't know, Brent. What do you think about this one Tamriel? Is there anything else of interest with that? Is it just the fact that you can play with your friends now?
Dude, that's one of those games where I wish I had more time to just sit down and play.
Yeah.
I actually think that's a well-done MMO. I know it started off kind of rough, but I've gone back and visited a couple times, and it's just a great game.
Yeah.
It's a really fun MMO with a lot to do. I won't say it's on the same level as Final Fantasy XIV, but it's pretty damn close in terms of stuff to do and the world they've created and all the stuff and things you can do. I think that's a really good MMO, and that's a game I wish I could just play all day. Every day. I really wish I could.
And the story with ESO is very similar to A Realm Reborn. Final Fantasy XIV came out, was a flawed title. It had issues with many gamers. Square went back to the drawing board. They retooled the game, re-released the game as A Realm Reborn, fixed all the issues with the game, brought it over to consoles, and now the game's thriving. Same thing with ESO. When it originally came out, it was a flawed product. Many people had issues with the game. It was overhauled. Came over to consoles. It's a completely different game than when it first came out. Now people are enjoying it. We're seeing massive updates like these regularly now. So, yeah, cool to see both of these games kind of do a turnaround and they're afforded that option because they have these names attached to them. So if this was the young Papyrus Chronicles or something like that, like they probably wouldn't be afforded the same luxury that an Elder Scrolls game would. Like, it has that cachet. Like, if that wasn't a Final Fantasy game, like, people probably wouldn't have came back for A Realm Reborn. But people love these franchises. They want these games to be good. So happy to see that they were able to go back and satiate the fans. That's awesome. So the one Tamriel update will be out this Tuesday. Got a couple VR titles coming out this week. Pixel Gear is going to be out October 20th. That's a Thursday. This is a kind of a shooter game. So I'm not sure if it's stationary. It looks almost like a light gun game where you've got this kind of cool pixel art style, but all the enemies are in like pixels. So as you're shooting them, they break apart into pixels. Looks like it might be a cool looking game. Then we've got Sports Bar VR. I don't know. This kind of looks interesting to me. It's just basically you're in the bar playing darts, pool, whatever you can find. Bar games you can play in the VR headset with the Move controller. So looks like that might be a fun time. Franklin, Duke Nukem's coming to retail this week. So you can add another game to your shelf there.
Yay.
With the Duke Nukem 3D 20th Anniversary World Tour. World of Final Fantasy getting a demo on Monday. A demo that's coming both to the PS4 and the Vita. Kind of interested to check this out. Not sure if I'm going to have time. But, Brent, maybe you want to download this on the Vita, man. Check it out, see what it's like on there. I'm really curious.
I was planning on that.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what this is like on the Vita. Just a couple reminders here, too. Skylanders Imaginators, as we're recording this show on a Saturday, it will be out tomorrow on Sunday. But as you're listening to the show, Skylanders Imaginators in stores now. So if you're waiting for that game, go pick it up. Red Dead Revolver, the PS2 on PS4 game, snuck out onto the store this past Tuesday. It's kind of been rumored showing up here and there, but it finally did officially release here in America this Tuesday. I believe it's $14.99. Platinum trophy with this? Yes, no? Anybody have? Maybe?
No, no
Not
clue.
sure.
I think it's got a platinum. Don't quote me on that. But that's available now. And then Solitaire, another game we missed last week, available now on the PS4. That's your PS4 releases, guys. PS3, just another reminder that Skylanders is out on there. No other titles coming into it this week. On the Vita, Super Dimension, Neptune vs. Sega Hard Girls. That's a mouthful, but the latest in that niche series will be out on the Vita. Battalion Commander, a kind of, I don't know, looks like a shoot 'em up commando style game. That's out on Thursday, October 20th on the system. As I mentioned earlier, Exist Archive, The Other Side of the Sky is on the system this week. The Keeper of Four Elements is a tower defense game this Thursday. on the system, and of course, that World of Final Fantasy demo will be hitting the Vita on Monday. Xbox, guys. Of course, Battlefield 1 will be on there on the same Tuesday, Friday release schedule. Batman Return to Arkham, Mordheim City of the Damned, and the Rock Band Rivals DLC also coming to the platform. Duke Nukem 3D will be out on retail for the Xbox fans as well. Hopico and the Bug Butcher are Wednesday releases. And then Horse Racing 2016, a Friday release for the Xbox One. Brent, I'll expect a full report on the next podcast.
Got you covered, dude.
Slain Back from Hell. I feel like we've talked about this game on every single show for the last 6 weeks, but this game will be out this Friday on the Xbox One. I think we finally got the release date right on this. This is straight from Microsoft's mouth, so expect that one this Friday. And the Jackbox Party Pack 3 will join Slain on Friday as well. And Skylanders Imaginators, available on the Xbox One now and the Xbox 360. Go grab it. All right, fellas, let's get into Bender's world with the Nintendo games. On the Wii U, what we missed last week, a couple of DS Virtual Console games. Bender, I want to get your thoughts on these. We got Kirby Canvas Curse and Animal Crossing Wild World. Do you remember either of these games? Canvas Curse was the first of these like draw Kirby and make him go places type of games, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Yeah. Did you ever play that one?
Never actually played that one. Yeah. When I played Rainbow Curse on the Wii U, I had no frame of reference for it. So
yeah, and no desire to go back and get that frame of reference.
Yeah, no, not really. But Wild World was a good version of Animal Crossing. It was pretty fun. I mean, if you don't already have the New Leaf on 3DS, you should get that. But I mean, if you only have a Wii U, Wild World was a cool game. So yeah, Animal Crossing games are fun. I like them.
Yeah, so those are both available now for $9.99. Bender, have you tried any of these? I know we've talked about this before, but have you ever tried any of these DS Virtual Console games on the Wii U yet?
I don't think I have. I've played some Game Boy Advance Virtual Console games on the Wii U, and they work pretty good on the gamepad. But I'm not sure how the DS ones work.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always curious to see how these play. If any of our listeners have played these DS Virtual Console games, I know there's a couple different configurations you can use. Like you can do something as silly as have one screen on the TV and another screen on the gamepad. I think for some of these games, but yeah, it always seems a little strange to play a DS game on the Wii U gamepad. But I'm curious how they work. Now, if any of you guys out there have played them, write in podcast@shortpause.com if I can talk. Let us know what these DS Virtual Console games are like on the Wii U. All right, what's coming to the platform this week? Skylanders Imaginators will be available now. How about this one? Super Destronaut 2, Go Duck Yourself. It's an awesome it's an awesome name for a game. It's $1.99. It'll be on the eShop on Thursday. Steam World Heist makes its Wii U debut this Thursday for $14.99. Retro Road Rumble is an arcade racing game on there for $3.99 on Thursday. Pirate Pop Plus is a $4.99 title. Mr. Pumpkin Adventure is $3.99. And after the rousing success of Archery by Thornberry Software, we have Shooting Range by Thornberry Software, the long-awaited follow-up, $12.95 this Thursday on the eShop for the Wii U.
Wow, it's expensive.
It's an expensive one. Those Thornberry guys are robbing us blind. On the 3DS side of things, what we missed last week, we actually missed Severed. Didn't realize this was coming out. But for those that don't know, this is a cross-buy title with the Wii U. So if you have the Wii U version from a couple weeks back, you'll have the 3DS version, and vice versa. If you buy the 3DS version this week, you'll have the Wii U version waiting for you as well. If you buy this before Thursday, you can get a discount of 10%. Grab it for $13.49. Other than that, it'll be $14.99. It's a drink box joint, so this is definitely a recommended purchase for you 3DS owners. This week on the system, Pokemon Sun and Moon is getting a special demo version, and one of the Pokemon, I think it's Greninja, you can actually carry over a kind of an evolved version of this character into the actual game when it comes out. So it's gonna be worth your time if you go in there, play the demo, get your Greninja, transfer him over to the main game when it comes out in a few weeks here. Pirate Pop Plus will be on the 3DS as well for $5. Faerun 2 is an RPG coming to the system for $6.99. And a couple of retail releases. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse getting a retail release long after the digital release, right? How long ago did you review this game, Bender?
It's probably a year ago. I think.
It's probably a year ago.
And at that point, it was already a few months old when I reviewed it.
Yeah. So this game's been out for the better part of a year. Finally getting a retail release. And then the Disney 2-pack we mentioned last week coming to retail as well this week. One more honorable mention. Just wanted to throw out Civilization 6. We don't talk about PC games too much on the show. We're not big PC gamers here, but this is a huge title for PC gamers especially. So Civilization 6 coming out this Tuesday. It's going to get a 25th anniversary edition as well if you want to get in on some of the extra goodies that are a part of that. But strategy fans, yeah, this one's already on your radar. But if not, you might want to check this one out. This is a huge series in the PC world. That's it, Brent.
Man, many sleepless nights ahead for my brother. He loves Civilization
Oh, is
games.
he a huge Civ fan?
Dude, he plays those things religiously. He's a madman when it comes to those games. He loves them.
Yes.
Quick question for you boys. I didn't hear any options for the Thursday night indie spotlight this week. What stands out? The Bug Butcher?
Yeah, the Bug Butcher is the standout indie title for this week. I do still want to play Mantis Pro Racing and Necropolis though. I didn't get a chance to play those this past week. We had VR on this Thursday, so I didn't get a chance to do a Thursday night indie spotlight. So I'd like to get a few of those games running on the stream this week. We'll see what I can do though. If I don't get to Mantis Pro Racing or Necropolis, then the Bug Butcher will play this week for sure.
Before we jump into the news, VR came out on Thursday. We all picked up a headset. Bender went out at 10 o'clock at night, waited outside Best Buy, and was able to snag a copy or a unit.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about VR a little bit before we jump into the news. Boys, let's start with you, man. You've been very excited. You did not go out and try a demo of it at any of the retailers prior to its launch. You said, I want to just bring this thing home, come downstairs, and then come from my own home, my own element, and finally experience VR. Boys, we got to do that on Thursday. I want to get your initial impressions of PlayStation VR.
That's pretty wild, man. As I was setting everything up, and it's pretty easy to set up, by the way, too. It's not hard at all. The directions are very straightforward if you follow them. So pretty easy to set up. And then as I'm putting on this headset for the first time, I'm just kind of smiling, like, man, I'm about to hop into this virtual reality finally for the first time. So I took your advice, popped in VR Worlds first, and when you first boot that game up, it's got this cool kind of intro to all the games that you're gonna have an option to play. The 5 different little mini games that they have in here. So booted that up, fired up the shark encounter. It's the first thing I did. It's pretty cool. So there's no actual gameplay in there. You just kind of use the headset to look around. You're kind of descending down this down this reef, I guess. There's something down at the bottom that you're trying to search out. You eventually encounter this shark who kind of rips your cage apart before you finally get out of there. So that's a bit of a harrowing experience. Pretty cool how that works out. I love how you can just look back behind you and you see the shark circling back to come around and attack your cage. So that's pretty cool. In that first moment where you start getting lowered down into the water too, you actually feel like your stomach drops a little bit as you're moving down a little bit. So that was a really cool feeling. So I liked that. Then I jumped into the London heist as well, and thought that was really cool. I love playing with the move controllers and the reload animation as you just grab the 2 move controllers, click them together to load the clip into the gun. That's rad. The point in that demo that I thought was really cool when you're sitting there, it's like this kind of, I don't know, like this Guy Ritchie gangster flick kind of thing, but you're sitting at this lounge area. This guy's talking to you, and there's a cigar and a lighter in front of you. So just intuitively, I grabbed the cigar with one hand, grabbed the lighter with the other hand, flicked it open, lit the cigar, and it lit up. So I was like that's pretty cool. That demo was cool. I love the shootouts, the chase scene where you can actually lean out the side of your car or open the door and you have a Uzi that you're shooting at the enemies that are coming back. That was really cool. Had a lot of fun with that, and then we got to jump in and play Battlezone after that. I love the way that game moves. It feels really good to drive around in those tanks. It's fast. You're kind of gliding around the levels and as you're attacking these things. So that was cool. By the end of Battlezone, I was very tired from that day. I had basically played VR for a few hours straight. This is my first time ever playing VR, so I was feeling a little uneasy at the end of the Battlezone run. I was ready to just to go lay down and go to bed at that point. But it was a good first experience. It was a lot of fun. One of the things I wasn't I wasn't fully prepared for is the resolution of the screen.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm.
it's very straining on your eyes after a while. So you cannot sit there and play VR for extended periods of time because the resolution it's not like looking at your TV. This is
Right.
not like an ultra sharp image. So some of these games like Battlezone, it's like I like to use the turbo button in that game. So
Mhm.
as I'm flying around here, like this becomes a very heavy strain on your eyes. So it's gonna
Mhm.
take some getting used to the lower resolutions in the game. Um, and no, it just it's all part of being here at the ground level of VR. You know, the VR
Mhm.
headsets we get years down the line here are probably going to have the sharp 1080p images that we're used to seeing on our TV screens. But that's not the case right now. Like we get these lower res images, the picture's a little fuzzy, everything just is not entirely in focus. So that's gonna take some getting used to for myself. I was not fully prepared for that. I don't know, for whatever reason I didn't pick that up from like the previews I was reading. There wasn't a lot of
Mhm.
dwelling on like the actual like way that the picture looked. So I've
Mhm.
I've only got to experience the VR that one night so far. I've been busy the past couple nights, but I'm looking forward to getting in there playing some of the other games. Like I really can't wait to play Rigs. That's the one I want to play. Like I
Mhm.
have to play that tomorrow. Like I'm itching to play that game. I've heard some good things about that one, so I really want to jump into Rigs, playing around with that one. I still have to do Batman, so those are the two things at the top of my list to get done. But it was a good first experience with VR. It's gonna take some getting used to though, in terms of like the just the way you play the game. Like, I'm gonna have to build some VR stamina and get
Mhm.
used to the lower resolution of things. And man, when that image crisps up sometime down the line, like the immersion that this thing offers is incredible, and it's gonna be that much more immersive when everything looks like really high caliber, really sharp in the image quality. So that's exciting.
Mhm.
But I'm excited to be here at the ground floor of VR. It's a very cool technology. I mean, the first time you put in the headset and you start looking around and you're like in this world, it's a really cool experience. So yeah, having a lot of fun with it. Looking forward to playing some of the other games now, man.
And Ben, I want to go to you next. You play quite a few games as well. Ben touched on a little bit of thing that you and I talked about, just that fatigue of
Mm.
playing all day. And you and I played all day on Thursday. You even played Thursday night when you first got it. You were up till 2 o'clock or whatever playing,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
then you played strong throughout the day. So we talked about the fatigue. Talk about that. I also want to know what are some of the standout games that you play. What are some of the games that you would say, hey, look, buddy, bring a friend over, check this out right here, and this is what I want to sell you. Let me hear your thoughts on PlayStation VR, man.
Yeah, it is something, and I also want to touch on something that Ben mentioned. I mean, it's something that you're going to have to temper your expectations if you've
Mm-hmm.
never tried it, in certain ways. I mean, because don't get me wrong, the experience is awesome, but it does kind of cause you to feel a little fatigued after a while. It's for some reason it's kind of a little bit mentally exhausting to play for long periods of time. So don't expect it to be like something you can sit around all day and play. You're going to want to play for a little while, then you're going to want to go do something else. And also in regards to the resolution, like Ben was talking about, this don't expect it to look as good as it does on your TV screen, because it doesn't. The games still look good,
Mm-hmm.
but there is a bit of graininess, and there's what they call a screen door effect, where you can actually see the spaces between the pixels. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're gonna have to just be aware of that if you are considering buying this thing. If you're one who, you have to have high fidelity graphics, it's not quite there yet. This is like Ben was saying. This is the first iteration of it. It's going to get better with all the subsequent headsets that they come out with. But this is the ground floor. But having said that, I mean, I've loved everything for the most part that I've played with VR, with PSVR. Some things more than others, but everything has been pretty cool. Uh, I mean, some of the standouts. I mean, obviously, Eve Valkyrie is really cool, really fun to fly around and shoot stuff. I've only played a couple of missions in it, so far, but it's awesome. Battlezone is a lot of fun. It's way more fun with friends. I mean, when the four of us were going around shooting stuff down, it was super cool. That game is really challenging though. So, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you just have to keep boosting around, swiveling around, and just watch each other's back and try to stick together, because the tanks kind of heal each other when they're close by. So you have to stick together, make sure you kind of work as a team, and not get in each other's way, and just It's fun, but it's challenging.
Bender, did you play that one by yourself too? Did you go a solo run on it too?
I tried a little bit solo, yeah,
Like, how does it play on solo? Like, is
basically
it
the
still
same
that
thing.
challenge? Is it just as challenging? Is it more
Um,
challenging?
I think I played it like on the medium difficulty setting. I don't think I played it on like hard or anything, but it's still pretty challenging. I mean, I don't maybe there's a little bit fewer enemies or something. I'm not sure how they scale it, but
Hmm.
it still seemed pretty challenging. But it was just more fun to play with you guys, just because
Yeah.
we're working as a team and talking to each other, and it was really cool. So
Mhm.
overall, that game is pretty cool, pretty fun. Um, I did play the London Heist as well. I thought that was really intense. Uh, very uh, like you can play sitting down, but like that one part where you're behind a desk and there's this shootout, you have to shoot all the guards.
Yeah.
I felt the need to get out of my chair and crouch down behind the desk.
Dude, I had the same thing, man. I was sitting down when I was playing that, and I was like, man, am I supposed to be standing up? Like, am I supposed to be ducking down here?
Yeah,
Or, like what am I supposed to be doing?
I felt like I wasn't getting low enough. I was like, they're gonna shoot me.
Yeah.
I can't keep sitting here. I gotta crouch down. So I got out of my chair and crouched down, and I was like poking my head up and like shooting and like lifting my arm up to shoot and try to hit them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the whole car chase scene is super intense. The crazy thing is like you were talking about leaning out the door. I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah.
I
You
didn't even
can
try
open
that.
you can open the door. You can reach down, like
Really?
grab the handle, open the door. Like I was like looking back, looking at the guys that were like falling off their motorcycles, like just
Hmm.
shooting by,
That's
or the
cool.
guys that were coming up on the side. Like you can lean out the window and shoot at them. It's pretty
That's
neat.
awesome. And then I was talking to Frankie about it, and I told him that when you're in the car, you can change the radio station. You
Oh
turn the
yeah,
volume up and down, change and Frankie was like, I didn't know you could do that. So
dude,
it's
I was
just
doing
kind of
that too.
funny. It's just kind of funny how we try different things, and some people might try something that somebody else won't, and it's just interesting to see what kind of things you can do in that game. But that was super intense.
Yeah,
That was like you got this guy like screaming in your face while you're sitting in the warehouse. It's like
dude, that guy
okay,
with the blowtorch.
yeah.
I was
I
like,
was
whoa, dude.
yeah. It made me flinch on
Yeah.
quite a few times in that whole thing. It's pretty cool.
And
Um,
the thing, Bender, and you touched on it there with the radio station and with the cigar there that I talked about earlier. But I love just the intuitive sense
mhm,
that game uses. It really does it well. Where it's just like, man, I've got these hands, like I've got these things. Let's just see what happens when I grab this. And then you grab it, and something happens. Like it's just
mhm.
like you can intuitively do things in that game, and it reacts. And I'd really like to play a longer scale version of the London Heist or something like that. I think that would be an awesome experience.
Yeah, yeah. So that one was really cool. I want to give a special shout out to an app called Playroom VR. And the reason I want to say that because I haven't heard anybody talking about it. I've never heard anybody talking about this. I didn't even know it existed. But when I hooked up my VR headset, that was one of the first things I saw on my menu. I was like, Playroom VR, what's that? It's a free thing to download. So just so you know, you don't have to pay for it. And it's got these like mini games that you can play in VR. And one of them is a third person platforming game where you're playing as this little robot and you got to find the other robots, and it's very colorful, very bright, and this you know cheery music playing and everything, and it's really cool. It's really fun. Um, I It made me realize what like a Mario game could be in VR, or like a Ratchet and Clank or something like that. Any of those third person mascot based platforming games, those could work really well in VR. One word of warning about that game, though, that was the only game that I felt a little bit uh, sick, or like motion sickness, kind of. It didn't like make me physically ill, but there was definitely a feeling of uneasiness because you're walking and you're not actually moving, but the camera's moving along, and there's definitely like a weird feeling about that.
Did you try going backwards?
No, no,
Holy God, dude, that's where I almost threw up.
really.
Dude, I was playing that, and as I'm moving forward, I was like, okay, this takes a little getting used to. And I had missed one of those little robots on the ledge. I was like, well, I'll go back and get it. And as you go back, the camera starts moving back. I was like, oh my God, am I going to fall out of my... I thought I was going to fall out of my chair. Just because you start going backwards, you're like, holy crap. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, going backwards, it was like the real test. I was like, holy smokes. Okay, don't go backwards.
Yeah.
But I felt that too. And when you mentioned that, I was like, I bet you he went backwards. But yeah, don't go backwards.
It's a feeling that I got past after playing for a few
Yep.
minutes.
Yep.
It didn't really last. It didn't make me sick or anything. But that game was like it uses the DualShock in cool ways. Like, use the touchpad as like a grappling hook that you like shoot out
Yes.
with your thumb, and it like hooks onto a hook, and then you pull, and then you can use the robot will jump on it like a tightrope, and you can flick it up and make him fly up real high and like grab coins and stuff. It's really cool. And apparently there's some like multiplayer stuff going on in that thing that I'm gonna have to try out sometime too, where one person puts on the headset and other people play on the TV. So I'm gonna have to get more into that. So that seems really interesting. So yeah, as far as saying things that it didn't quite click with me, not a whole lot, but I tried out the Drive Club VR demo. It's played fine. It just doesn't look great. It's because of the blurriness of the visuals and the speed that you're moving, it's just hard to tell what's in the distance. And just it didn't look that great. I didn't really click with me. And then Job Simulator, I tried out the demo, which lasts like 2 minutes. It's a super short demo, and I could see the humor in the game. It didn't sell me on the game, that demo though. So I don't know if that's something I'll ever try out or pick up or pay for. But it was something. It was just so. Rigs, I did play some rigs. It's cool. I played all the like tutorial stuff, and I played like one actual match where you're playing against the AI. So it's like a 3-on-3 arena battle thing where you're just running around shooting the other team members, trying to take them out and get the most points. It's fun. There's these like super annoying like esports type announcers though that are always like shouting, "Oh, you got another point! Oh, it's another score for the Dragons! All right!" And it's just like those guys are annoying. I chose the Dragons. That was my team name. There's different teams you can choose from. But finally, the last thing I'm going to mention, Batman Arkham VR is by far the best VR experience out there right now. Out of everything I've played, like Rocksteady nailed it with this thing. I think Batman was awesome. Like from beginning to end, like everything about it was just super cool. Like I don't want to spoil too much of it, but just like from the moment it loads up and you're on the title screen, you're standing on the rooftop of GCPD in the rain, and you could like look in any direction. You look behind you, the bat signal is right behind you, and you can like look over the ledge and like look down, and like you're just standing on this rooftop, and then next thing you know, I mean, you're in the Bat Cave, you're talking to Alfred. I mean, he's telling you about what's going on. I'm not going to ruin the story or anything, but man, there's like crime solve it. Like you got a thing that you like scan things for like to solve crimes, and you got your grapple hook, you got your batarangs, and it's all very intuitive. It all works really well. Use the move controllers. You play standing. Well, you can play sitting down. I recommend you play standing up because it just makes it that much more immersive. And it was awesome. It's only like an hour and a half. It's super short, but it's so cool. It's so immersive. It's intense. It's got a good story, and it was just very impressive. Very impressive. It made me realize like what VR really could be. It really showed me VR's potential for really cool experiences. So I definitely recommend Arkham VR. So yeah,
dude, that's on my list for tomorrow. Like, I have to do the Batman experience tomorrow.
Absolutely, I think you'll love it.
Can't wait.
I have to do it as well.
Can't wait.
I have to get that. I've got to get that in. I've got to get rigs in. I've got quite a few games I got to play. Franklin, we hopped in and played some Battlezone. I want to get your thoughts on that and what else you tried out on VR, man. Has it lived up to your expectations? Were your expectations tempered, or is this thing not quite clicking with you? I want to get your thoughts on it.
I've only played Battlezone so far, so that's it for me. But I think so far just like the most annoying thing was setting it up. I mean, like Ben said, it is very straightforward. It's just there's a sea of cables in that box, and then just getting behind my TV, and there's already, it's already a disaster back there with all the consoles hooked up, the modem down there. So it was not a fun time. But the headset itself, though, I was actually kind of surprised because, when you do the demo in the store, I don't know like if it was the case with you guys, but they kind of put it on, so I didn't. I was like looking at the thing and I realized it just kind of, stretches. You put it on, and it's like, all right, well, that ain't bad, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just like, I don't know if it's just the way that I have my room set up and how I'm like trying to kind of figure out what I'm going to do with this thing. But like the TV is not like centered to where I sit because, I got another chair in here. So the TV's kind of in the middle for everyone. So like I have the camera angled towards me, but when we were playing Battlezone, like I felt like the VR itself, like the headset was still like focusing on the TV screen. So like I found myself having to like sit sideways to play it when we were doing it, and I don't know. I mean, this is all just stuff I need to tinker with still personally just to figure out. But
Mm-hmm.
the other thing I kind of dabbled with momentarily was the cinematic mode.
How is that?
I don't care for it.
Hmm.
Like it's a super low res. Like I don't want to say super low res, but it's very low res. Like of your dashboard and everything. And I don't know. I feel like every time I start moving around, it'll start kind of trying to center itself again, and it's kind of a little too much jank for me. So it's a cool novelty thing, but it's not something I'm going to use. I just wanted to check it out just to check it out. But as far as Battlezone goes, man, I jumped in and did like one of the quick tutorial missions before we all hopped on. Part of my other problem with this too is that my the headphones that I have don't fit over the headset, so I need to get new headphones, which sucks. But like playing it, like it was exactly as awesome as I remembered it being when I did the demo, and even sitting down and getting to play a couple missions with you guys. Like the longer I played it, like Bender said, like I started to feel kind of exhausted. I didn't like no sickness or anything. It's just like that, a lot of looking around, a lot of. So it's not a bad thing, but I had a good time with it. I was actually kind of surprised that it, like you mentioned, Brent, when we were playing, like they're kind of like those XCOM like type setup where it's like the enemies like growing stronger as you're progressing through it, and then you got like your nemesis like hunting you down, and just like so there's certain like elements that they have to that game besides just the tank fighting. Like I was surprised, but I like it. It works well for that game in my opinion. So. That one's one I'm really hoping to play more of, but I mean, I have a ton of games I picked up for this thing, so I got like Riggs, I got Eve Valkyrie that I'm psyched to start, I got Batman, I have Rise of the Tomb Raider, kind of want to check out the Manor thing, just see what it's all about. I got that, I had the season pass for Drive Club, so actually for buying the Xbox and buying the VR headset, I had enough points to get a $20 PlayStation Network card, so I got the Drive Club basically for free, so... I've got all this stuff that I want to play now, and of course, my life I don't have time. So I don't know. But the other thing I want to mention really quick, and this isn't completely VR related, but I did check out 100-Foot Robot Golf, not in VR. So that's actually kind of cool. That game's goofy, like we thought it would be. It's one of those just dumb fun games. So like there's like the second I booted up it had like the press triangle to go into VR mode. I'm like so one of these days I'm gonna try to figure that out. But the other problem that I noticed like when we were streaming actually and I don't know like if it's just if because it's somewhat like the system in the VR or just my system being annoying, but like I couldn't join the party with you guys. I don't know what was up with that. You can't plug in a USB head like my microphone I usually plug in, like it doesn't work, which is weird, which makes me wonder if maybe that's a problem with them doing the external hard drive, is maybe you can't use both USB drives at once because it drains too much juice in the system. I don't know.
No, I think when you're using VR, you can't use a USB headset at all, period. It's just you can't use it. You have to use the headset on the thing.
Yeah, I mean the audio sounded good, through the TV at least, but like I said, I just gotta find some actual headphones because I don't really like earbuds. So I gotta figure something out with that. But just like streaming and stuff, I think we still have to tinker and kind of figure out ways to get all of our audio into streams and stuff. So.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. Like, and when we stream, I noticed that on our stream, we can't hear each other. All you hear is me talking to you guys, and I think that's because we weren't in a party chat. And it was really weird because Bender was in the party chat, but you couldn't join. And then I was like, and then when we backed out, I had left the chat on. I was like, oh well, they'll be able to hear us, so people couldn't hear us. So, I think next time what we'll just try to do, we'll try to get you into the party chat without having a USB or anything plugged in. And then maybe that'll work.
Yeah.
Because we were in a party chat waiting for you when you said you couldn't get in. I was like, I wonder why the hell you can't get in. So then we backed out of the party chat, and that's why we could hear each other because we were in the game chat.
Mm.
I don't know, but the other thing I wanted to mention with Battlezone, and actually, Boyce, I remember because you had the same issue. But when I initially sat down to start playing Battlezone, like I was too close, so like I'm looking around, just like, dude, why do I just like I there was like the sonar was like right in my face, and I'm just like okay, whatever. So I moved my chair back a little bit further, and I could see like it displays like your stats and everything on your left side, and everything else. So I didn't realize when I was setting this thing up at home, like where you're sitting in the room actually does translate to, and at least in Battlezone's case, like where you are positioned within the game itself. So I mean that makes total sense because it's freaking VR. But I just thought that was interesting. That was a touch I wasn't really expecting.
And the quickest way to alleviate that, and Bender pointed out during the stream, is wherever you're sitting, if you say if you set up super close to your TV, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to go sit back in my chair, and you go sit back, the camera's going to read it as you moving far away. So that's why when you play anything, it seems like you're super far away. So you want to hold down the options button for like 2 or 3 seconds, and that recalibrates to where you're sitting. The camera will be like, okay, he moved here, and that's when you'll see. Because Boy said he was like, I can't read the stuff on the screen, and he's sitting in the back of his tank, like in the trunk.
I spent 20 minutes in the back of the tank trying to figure out what in the hell was going on, why I couldn't read anything. I was like, man, I know this is low res, but damn, I can't see anything. I couldn't make out any of the words. But that's a great. I love that you can just hold the options button to recalibrate them. It makes it easy. So if you ever get off center or whatever off the camera, you can just hold that button down and it fixes everything right away. So that's awesome.
Yep. So good first week with PlayStation VR. I agree with a lot of stuff you guys said. The visual clarity in some of these games is going to vary. Like I thought the visual clarity in Ocean Descent, Eve Valkyrie, and a couple other titles Thumper looked really, really good. Obviously, that's not a very visual demanding game, but that looked really sharp. But like games like Here They Lie was the one game where I played it. Like I said, the atmosphere in Here They Lie is very eerie. It's very thick, and it's very effective. But the movement in that game is sort of strange. And then secondly, the visuals in that game it's very blurry. It's not very clear no matter how once you get up super close on something, it's okay, but anything a little bit further off, and you're in this big city, and like off in the distance, it gets really blurry. It's hard to see certain things. But some games are gonna just vary. And like Bender, I went hard the minute I brought the PSVR home, and like I think after I got done playing Here They Lie, I was seriously mentally exhausted. And I totally get why we get that way, because I mean you're sitting there playing these games and you're stuck in this world and you're enamored with it and you're like, this is so amazing. Your brain is working overtime in VR. Because even though you're sitting there telling yourself, okay, I'm in a game, my feet are on the ground, I'm not moving, I'm here, I'm fine. Your brain is still processing a lot because you're not moving with everything that's going on the screen, and that's just going to wear you out mentally. And I accept that. Like VR is just going to be those things. You jump into, play for a little while, and then take a break. But I enjoy what I played. It was really, really fun. I played a lot of different games. I still got a few games I got to try out. But the one thing I want to mention about PlayStation VR that I think this is going to be a good product is whenever something new comes out and I play it, and then I stop playing it for a day, you can usually tell if it's a game you're really interested in or a system you're really interested in, because after a couple of days, like, man, I got to get back into that. Or sometimes you just like, I was worried that I'd try out VR the first day, and then I knew the next day I was going to take a day off because I needed to. But I was like, man, what if I just don't go back to it? What if I'm playing other stuff? I really want to get that headset back on. Like, I want to get back in and keep playing these different games. I want to spend more time with Eve Valkyrie. I understand that this is going to take a while to adapt to playing VR and getting used to it. But, man, the immersive experiences that you can have. The Ocean Descent was incredible to me. It was incredible. Man, when that shark... I had Melissa play it first, and she didn't even get to the shark. I didn't even know there was a shark. And she's like, I can't do this. Because the people talking to her are like, man, there's something big down there. And she's getting deeper in the water, and it's getting darker. And she was like, I can't do this, Brent. I'm really sorry. This is really stressful. I'm like, okay. So I popped it on. And, I mean, she sat next to me, and she was like, Brent, you should have seen me when the shark came around. Like, I was seriously, I was looking everywhere for that damn thing. As soon as you first see it, I did not lose contact with that shark. I had my eyes on the entire time. But, man, just seeing that thing come up on the screen, right up in front of you. It's so much different when we stream stuff. You're not even getting the full effect when we stream it. Like if you go to our YouTube channel, we got videos up. It's not even the same thing. It's not even close. The kitchen demo, that's I want to say that's effed up, and it's effed up. Like, it is terrifying. It is a short demo. It's maybe 4.5 minutes. But my gosh, when you run into the chick that's in that game, the person that's stalking you, the intensity. I mean, I had tit sweat. I had sweaty everything, dude. It was overbearing. I was like, holy cow, this is messed up. This is really creepy. There is a ton of potential in VR, and I'm really excited to see what developers can do with this. Like you guys mentioned, these visuals aren't going to blow you away. It's not about the visual fidelity. It's about being in that world. It's about being in these immersive experiences, and you don't need pristine graphics to feel immersed, to feel terrified, to feel excitement, to feel velocity and all of that. You don't need the pristine graphics. You are in these worlds, and believe me, more times than not, I was like, man, I love being in here. So PlayStation VR is very, very cool. I have a lot of hope for the potential of VR, and I hope developers find a way to get the most out of these headsets because, man, VR is awesome. I'm really, really happy with the purchase.
And Brent, one of the things I was thinking about too is I'm really curious now how the Pro is going to affect PlayStation VR.
Yep.
Obviously it's not going to change the resolution. I mean, the headset is what it is. It can only output at a certain resolution, but I'm curious what the experience is going to be like via the Pro and how that's going to change things. I don't know exactly what it's going to be able to do with it, but
I mean, it might not change the res, but it could still clean up the picture a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the processing power of the PS4, its lack thereof compared to the Pro, may not allow it to have tighter images. I mean, the resolution of the headset, if you watch something that's like Thumper, looks great. So, I mean, it's not a problem with making a clearer picture. It's just games like Here They Lie. It's a massive city. There's probably a lot of resources getting used up in order to just give this city in front of you. With the PR Pro, you might be able to tighten up that image a little bit. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff the Pro can do. I tell you what the Pro's going to do. It's going to clean up my damn desk because I can move the VR and everything back over there and not dude, I got wires everywhere. It's an absolute mess at my desk right now. So as soon as the Pro shows up, that's going on the other TV with the VR, and that'll clean up my work area a little bit. But it's a hodgepodge of a mess right now. But no, I'm with you, boys. I'm curious to see what PlayStation 4 Pro does for the VR experience.
One thing I forgot to mention. Special shout out to the Hulu app on PS4 because they made a VR version of the app, and if you watch a TV show on Hulu in the VR version of the app, it makes it look like you're sitting in this huge like apartment with a giant screen TV in front of you, and you can like look all around the apartment. It looks like a huge like loft apartment in New York City or something. And there's like a table in front of you, and there's like a fireplace, and you can like look all around, and it's like a giant TV screen in front of you. I watched an episode of The Tonight Show like that. I was like, this is way nicer than my apartment.
That's rad.
How
That's cool.
how does the Hulu app look, Bender? Like how did the TV show look in there?
It looked decent, man. It didn't look it's like super blurry or anything. I mean, the resolution looked all right. It was just kind of good actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, that's our PlayStation VR impressions. I'm sure we'll have more videos, more impressions going up over the next couple of weeks as more games come out. Let's jump into the news, guys. First up, big time NX news, even though we still haven't gotten a reveal yet. But maybe.
This is crazy, man.
Just maybe. Lots of rumors, reports coming out. We can expect an NX reveal this week. And a couple of things they point out might be a major disappointment with the price, which I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts on. But let's talk about here's what we got from this report. The first thing it mentions: a long in the works revamp to the company's consoles, the NX, with reveal coming next week, is liable to come in at a price that will result in a quote major disappointment for volume sales. This is according to a post on an investor website Seeking Alpha. Speculation is putting the price of the new console between $300 and $350, in line with competing consoles versus the Wii's former discount to rival boxes from Sony and Microsoft. So first things first is, I mean, I don't know what kind of prices these people were expecting, but Bender, is 300 to 350 disappointing for an NX console that you might be able to take on the go with you?
No, I was confused by that too. I don't know why that would be such a huge disappointment. If it's a good enough device, and if it feels like it's worth that money, then I don't have any issue with paying it. I mean, if it's like gonna be like super cheap, and if it turns out to be like really low end, then obviously that'd be disappointing to have to pay that.
Mm-hmm.
But sounds like it's gonna be worth it for that amount of money. I mean, so I don't see why that's such a huge disappointment.
I'm going to come back to you because we have a bunch of other stuff, some other leaks on like Reddit and NeoGAF that have some information as well. But boys, I mean, initial impressions of this report, and thought that this is this a major disappointment? This price?
I don't know. And here's the thing: you gotta look at this from a few different angles. I think from the type of gamers that the four of us are, like 300 to 350, like sounds like a pretty good deal. We have an idea what we're getting with this thing. Like it's gonna be, a modern console. We're gonna be able to take it on the go with this really high powered handheld. Like all that stuff sounds awesome. That sounds like something we would pay $300 for, right? The other side of this coin is the narrative that's developed around the NX, the narrative that this is going to be a system that's underpowered compared to the PS4, compared to the Xbox One, especially compared to like the PS4 Pro. So when you say that your NX system is going to come out, regardless of what it can do, but it's going to come out at the same price as a PS4 and an Xbox One at $300, or maybe closer to what the PS4 Pro is going to be with a 350, maybe even a 399 unit. And if the narrative is still that this thing is underpowered compared to that, then maybe a little bit of the disappointment creeps in. The other side of this too is the handheld market that Nintendo typically operates in. So if you are now taking Nintendo's handheld, for all intents and purposes, this is going to be their new handheld as well as their new home console. So if you're not asking people to pay $350 for the Nintendo handheld, that's something they haven't been doing before. Like $199 when the 3DS came out at $250, that was a stretch. So then they dropped that price down like $80. It was down to like $179 shortly thereafter, and that's when the system took off. So when people think of Nintendo handhelds, they don't think of $350. Like that's like whoa. Like what are we talking about here? So you're removing that dedicated handheld device like the 3DS and the DS. You're removing that from the equation now, and now to get your handheld fix in the future for Nintendo, you have to purchase an NX, which could run you $300 to $350. Now I understand, like we're in an age where people buy tablets and iPads and these things are expensive, but for whatever reason, like that hasn't been able to, like that doesn't fly in the handheld console market. Like Apple's been able to develop this really high class image around themselves, and people are willing to pay $500 for iPads and things of that nature. But people haven't shown they're willing to pay $350 for a handheld gaming device at this point. So maybe that's where some of the major disappointment is going to come in when they say for volume sales. And that's going to come down to the way Nintendo can message this thing and the way they can deliver this to their fans. But that's one of the things I'm worried about with this system is it's kind of an in-between between a home console and a handheld. It's very expensive in terms of dedicated gaming handhelds go. It's possibly going to be underpowered in terms of the home console market, but it's going to be a similar price. So it's going to occupy this kind of weird space, and I don't know how this price is going to fly. We'll have to see when it's officially unveiled.
Good points.
Frankie, how about you, man? What's your thoughts on $300 NX, man?
That's pretty much where I was expecting that thing to fall in regardless. The way I'm looking at it though is, I mean, if I have a Nintendo system that I could take with me on the go, I could play my Pokemon on the go, come home, plug it into the TV and keep playing it, that's a pretty good price in my opinion.
We also found out what maybe the name of this thing is going to be. It might not be the NX. According to an image posted on Japanese forum 2chan, which allegedly stems from a software partner briefing, the device will be called the Nintendo Duo, which is an interesting title. I almost think I would like NX better, but Benner, what are your thoughts on the possible title of the Nintendo Duo?
I don't know. I think that's a confusing name, honestly. If they're trying to emphasize that it's something you can play at home and on the go, Duo makes it sound like two different things. It's one thing that you can play two different ways, I guess. But I think Duo would be confusing. I personally would prefer if it was just called the NX. I would be fine with that if that turned out to be the final name. That wouldn't be unprecedented because that's what happened with the DS. The Nintendo DS was their code name, and that ended up being the final name. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Duo is a confusing.
Boys, you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bender makes a good point there. I mean, I think we've all grown with with the NX name over the last year and a half because this thing's been in the news for so long now. So I don't know that we've ever had this long to get used to a Nintendo code name before. But we're so ingrained with NX now that anything outside of NX sounds a bit odd. So like any of these system names when they initially come out, they're going to be a little bit strange sounding. But eventually, we're just going to be saying Nintendo Duo, and it's gonna be on Nintendo to make sure that they message this thing properly and deliver a clear and concise presentation on what this thing is and why gamers should be excited about it. So, the Duo name sounds strange right now, but in a few months from now, who knows? Maybe we'll be used to saying it.
Frankie, what do you like the sound of better, Nintendo Duo or Nintendo Wii U? Which one's more annoying?
I'll take the Duo. I don't know. I
Yeah?
kind of like saying it. Kind of makes sense, Duo. I mean, two different uses for it, same device.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Gotcha.
I don't feel
Gotcha.
it's really confusing.
It is
Less
better than
confusing.
Wii U. I'll give
It
it
is
that.
way better than Wii U.
Personally, I don't care anymore. I just want to hear Nintendo talk about this thing. I don't care what the name is. Just tell me what I'm buying in March. So there were two big leaks that came out this week. First, we had on Reddit. Somebody posted on Reddit. I'm trying to find the name of the person here. Is it Flapsnapple? Looks like Flapsnapple is the name, which is a totally awesome name.
Yeah.
Here's what they had to say when verifying their source. We have verified that our source works for a very large retailer. We have verified that the source is in a position to have access to this sort of information. Exact details of what was provided will not be released. We take protecting the identity of our sources very seriously. Our source has added the disclaimer that this is an initial information and subject to change as time goes on. And this source revealed quite a bit of information. They talk about the marketing. The one popular phrase that's been seen on a poster is interact with your game on the go. There's some strong co-branding effort with a Mario launch title on many posters. The console is currently set to launch with at least 4 titles on deck. Oh, with at least 4
Geez,
titles.
I would hope so.
I would hope it would be more than 4, but yeah. Stores should be receiving demo units around February, and the base price point seems to be sitting at $299. They also talk about some information regarding a bundle. The NX is currently set to have a bundle option. The contents of this bundle is currently unknown. The bundle price is currently sitting at $399.
So what could be in a bundle that would cause it to be $100 more?
Well, let's see. So you got to figure in the base unit. You've got this. It's the system, both the one that works on a TV and the one you can take on the go. Correct? I mean, that's got to be the base unit.
Yeah, I would assume.
I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, a camera. Is there going to be a camera with the NX?
I don't know.
Is there going to be an extra? I don't know. I don't even know how many controllers you can plug into the NX. We don't know anything about this. Oh, I mean, there could be controllers.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe
I
a
have no
couple of
pro
games or something.
pro controller in a game.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, very very strange. But $100 is pretty pricey. I'd like to hear. I hope there's some good stuff. I hope it's not just games. But unless it's like 2 or 3 games, and yeah, that's great. But and they also shared some information about the packaging. The packaging for the NX will be slightly larger than the Wii U's packaging. The packaging is relatively clean and simple and is similar to the Wii U in terms of packaging design. The color scheme for the packaging is white and blue. The areas of the packaging that would usually depict the hardware were blurred and redacted by Nintendo in an attempt to keep it hidden. Sneaky. And now here are some of the features and specs that this person leaked out. First, the games will be on cartridges. 4K streaming has been mentioned. What this likely means is playback of content such as Netflix, not gameplay. And lastly, 1080p 60 frames are being used by the marketing teams in relation to gameplay on the console portion. He's heard unconfirmed rumblings of 900p for the infamous hybrid part of the device,
900.
which I'm not totally bummed about having 900p on the go.
That's a lot of P's.
That's higher than the 720 we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and I'm not. I don't know about that. Like I really don't know if on that size of a screen, if it's the 6-inch screen that's been rumored, like do you really need more than 720p on there? I mean that's going to be a sharp image at that size. So is 900p overkill at that point? Like is that just going to drain that much more of the battery?
Right. That's true, yeah. And hopefully it doesn't affect the gameplay. Hopefully the gameplay is still tight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you drop it down to 720p, you probably leave a little bit of room for processing, for frame rate,
Yeah.
and stability and whatnot. So
Yeah, and on the other side of that coin, I wonder if maybe that factors into the console portion of it as well. Like if you have a 720p image on the handheld device, like maybe that doesn't translate over to the console one as well. You know, maybe there's too much up-resing that needs to
I
go
see
on.
what
So
you're
maybe
saying.
it has to be 900p on there in order to get a 1080p on the console portion of it. I don't know.
Frankie, what do you think about that, man? Popping out your handheld at work in 900p, running good,
I'd be-
Mario
I'd
game?
be okay with that. That'd be a lot of fun. It's not a bad resolution for a handheld.
That's pretty hot. How about you, Bender? What do you think of that, man?
I like it. It'd be pretty cool.
So first we had that on Reddit, and then over on NeoGAF, somebody had posted a leak that needed some translation.
It's from the French site Game Blog. We hear rumors coming out of them on occasion, and
okay.
they're a French site obviously. So somebody took it upon themselves to translate it into English for us as best they could on NeoGAF here.
So here's what they had to say. This is what they had regarding the NX. About 20 games. He's sure about 20 games in development.
Let's hope it's more than that.
I hope it's more than 20
It's got to be
games
more
in
than 20
development.
games. Yeah, there's no way there's only 20 games in development.
The sources are currently developing on the platform and have dev kits.
So I'm wondering if when they say 20 games, like maybe they've talked to 20 people or they've been in contact
Right.
with 20 developers who have these dev kits who are working on games. There's obviously more than 20 games in development.
Yeah. And I'm sure not every developer's out just, oh yeah, here's all this
Yeah.
information, dude.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to verify these leaks very soon, but not aware of the actual reveal date. Nintendo hasn't shared all the NX's gimmicks with their devs yet.
It's an interesting.
So that's interesting.
When might they be showing them these gimmicks then? If the system is coming out, I don't know, in 5 months?
Right. Tell them after launch. Why don't you add this? Make use of this. Well, you didn't tell us. Hybrid confirmed, but not the only surprise. Hybrid confirmed. I mean, we already kind of knew it was a hybrid, right?
Yeah, but they're saying that's not the only. It goes hand in hand with the previous statement of the gimmicks. Like there
Gotcha,
are
okay.
other things about this device that we don't know about yet.
Gotcha. He's been confirmed there are detachable controllers, no real dock where you plug the handheld, but a wireless dongle upscaling for the TV.
That sounds weird.
So this thing isn't directly connected to your television.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy the dongle thing right now.
Handheld game is the same as the docked game. Games look good on the handheld screen. 780. This is a new number. 780 to 900p, about PS4 level. Ports should be easy despite the different architecture. Very positive feedback on the dev tools. Breaking news. Breath of the Wild looks nicer on the NX. Smartphone connectivity may be possible. VR, not out of the question, but first tests aren't satisfying. Lots of remasters planned. Skyward Sword. What's MK?
Mario
Kart 8. Splatoon. Smash. Nintendo 64 and Wii games. Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake are coming to NX. Platinum Games and Capcom are in. Ubisoft is in, no kidding. Beyond Good and Evil 2 discussed but not confirmed. Splinter Cell and a Yoshi Rabbids crossover being discussed too. I don't know what to make of all that stuff. Splinter Cell, awesome. Platinum Games, Capcom in are awesome. Final Fantasy, dude, boys, imagine being able to take Final Fantasy 15 on the road with you, man.
It's interesting at 900p, huh?
It's not bad.
Not bad.
this is more stuff, more leaks. I mean, at, can we just get this reveal now? I mean, do you think we're at that point where we're just like, Bender? You're a Nintendo fan.
Mm-hmm.
You're the diehard Nintendo fan here. Frankie, I know you're a strong Nintendo fan. I love what Nintendo used to be. Boyce, you're a fan of Nintendo. Are we at the point where we're just tired of these leaks and we just want to hear about this thing? I mean, really, is there any excitement out of this leak?
Yeah, I've kind of been in that place for months now. I'm ready for them to finally just talk about it, just show us what it is. I'm tired of hearing about leaks. I just want to see the NX. I just want them to reveal it to us finally. So I hope that it turns out to be true, that it's going to be next week that they actually reveal it. So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm tired of the leaks already.
Frankie, the stuff that we heard today, I mean, does this sound good to you? I mean, or are you at that point where you're just like, I'm tired of getting excited about leaks. I just want to hear about this damn thing.
I mean, the more we keep hearing about it, the more I'm ready to start actually finally hearing about it, just because all the leaks do sound really cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm at the point where I'm going to be kind of disappointed if what ends up getting announced doesn't really line up with a lot of stuff that we've heard. That's the biggest, let's talk about this thing already. They've been teasing it since the beginning of the year. We're in the middle of October now. No official reveal. It's driving me crazy.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you too, man. Like I'm concerned about that too. I mean, we've heard a lot of things, and a lot of these things all line up with previous leaks, But there are some things in there that you're hearing about. You're like, God, I hope that's true. I hope that's true. And there's a good possibility some people are going to be like, well, can't you just release the console that you guys leaked? These guys leak and judge by the people's excitement. Make that system. Boyce, what are your thoughts, man, on everything that we got here? I mean, are you excited for this thing, or are you just ready to hear about it from Nintendo?
Yeah, I just want to know when it's actually going to be unveiled so we can have some actual concrete stuff to talk about with this thing. And this thing about the system being revealed next week, it comes from an investment firm. So this is not like the Brazilian ratings board where you put it in the bank like this is going to happen. Like this is some investment firm who just said the NX is going to be revealed next week. Why they're the only people with that information, who knows? But so I don't even know if it's going to be revealed next week. But yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm ready to hear about it. I'm ready to get the actual concrete information about this thing so we can see what this is all about, and we can move on with our lives, man. And I have to deal with the NX, rumor du jour every single week on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, the idea of being able to take a major game, whether it's Breath of the Wild or a third-party game or something along those lines, on the go at 900p with some kind of an achievement system built into it, I mean, that's appealing. And for me, that $300, that's easy. That's an easy sell. I mean, it really is. So,
dude, that's the thing, man. It's like more so than being able to take games on the go. Like, what I really want to see is I want to see Nintendo get the little stuff right that we've been asking them to do. Like, I want to see the achievement system. I want to see an online infrastructure that rivals what we see in modern consoles or what we expect from a modern console. Like, I want to see like basic stuff like that. I want to see like us be able to play a regular game on your system if we want to. And not it doesn't have to be something just epically special in order to take advantage of your system. Like, I just want to see them do the little things right. So taking games on the go like that sounds awesome, especially if we're able to take like PS4 caliber games on the go with us on a handheld. That's freaking cool. But I want to see the little stuff right, man. It's like if we can take these games on the go, but they don't get the other stuff right, like it's all gonna be a moot point in the end. Like let's get some of the other stuff right too that we want.
Yeah, we'll be paying attention very closely to that reveal and what features they talk about, which I hope all of them at this point. So, very interesting. Lots of stuff, but again, hopefully there is some truth that at some point this week we will hear about the NX and we'll be able to bask in its glory all next week on next week's show. Bender will have a party, we'll have music, we'll have punch and pie. We'll make it the Bender edition where you just talk about the NX and all of its glory.
Yay.
So do you guys think it would just be something like Nintendo sends out a press release? They're like, we're having a special direct tomorrow. We're not going to tell you what it's. I mean, is it going to be something like that, or are they going to? I don't know. It just seems like they would want to build up to this a little bit. Like, hey, we're having a special meeting. It's coming in 2 weeks. It's going to be a Nintendo Direct at these times. Or are they just gonna like suddenly the night before be like, hey, there's a direct tomorrow? We're probably gonna talk about that NX thing.
Honestly, I don't care how they do it at this point. I don't need the spectacle. I don't need to see invites going out to everybody. Meet us in New York. I don't need any of that stuff. Just do it. Post it live on a video so I can watch it. Keep Bill Trinan off there. You can bring on some Reggie. So, but that's your NX moment. Let's move along. Boys, the Destiny new update will be raising the max light level, increasing avenues to gain light, and get us ready for the heroic mode of Wrath of the Machine. What can we expect from this update dropping this week on Destiny?
Yeah, this is cool, man. So to coincide with the release of the heroic mode, which comes out this Tuesday, for Destiny fans out there, they're releasing this update. It's 2.4.1, and it's not only gonna raise the light level to 400, so you can now get 400 level gear as you go through the heroic mode of the raid, but it's gonna make getting to 370 or to 380 much easier now. So you're gonna have an easier avenue to get ready for the regular raid or to get up to the previous max light level now. Let's read what's gonna happen here. So this is from a member of the live team. This is senior designer Victoria Dahlbaum talking. She states, on October 18th, corresponding with the release of heroic mode for Wrath of the Machine, your maximum light will be increased to 400. With this increase, many reward sources will also increase their maximum light. Strike Hordes, Nightfall, Exotic Engrams, Trials of Osiris, Crucible, and Iron Banner will now provide rewards up to 400 light. Archon's Forge, the Heroic Siva Strike playlist, and Legendary Engrams will now provide rewards up to 385 light. That's awesome. Rare Engrams and the Siva Strike playlist will now provide rewards up to 365 light. The recommended light for these activities will remain the same, with the exception of Nightfall, which will be increased to a recommended light of 380. For those trying to reach Heroic Wrath of the Machine or even attempt their first run at normal Wrath of the Machine, players should find more paths and options available to them to reach the recommended light. For players forging their path through Wrath of the Machine, Trials of Osiris, and Iron Banner, these activities will now attempt to reward light on average, or reward higher light on average compared to your current light level. Artifacts and ghosts were dropping from fewer sources than intended and have been added as an Archon's Forge completion reward. These items will now drop up to 400 light. In faction packages, the rate at which ghosts are rewarded has been increased. Likewise, the rate of artifacts from Eris's faction packages have been increased. So that's awesome. These are all welcome updates. This has been feedback from the player base since Rise of Iron came out. You hit that 340 wall with the blue engrams, then you're kind of in no man's land from 340 to 365 in that range. As you try to get legendary engrams, you go through some of the other activities to kind of level up. So you now have many more options to get to 385, to get to 400 from here on out. So that's good to hear.
That's really good. I'm glad they're doing that now that I just hit 369.
Well, hey, 385's in front of you now, man.
Yeah, right. No, what we're going to try to do is Sunday night, we're going to rock out with Frankie. We're going to try to get him up to
369. I just hit 355.
Oh, dude, we'll get you up there. But we're going to try to get Frankie up to code, so we're ready to do the raid. We're going to start the raid on Tuesday night. That's the plan, to start it and see if we can get through the Wrath of the Machine raid. We're going to try to find 2 people that haven't played it yet. We'll probably have to look to LFG. But if you're listening to this podcast and you're up to 370 and you're kind of ready to go, let us know. Hit us up on Twitter, at The Short Pause, or any of our individual Twitter handles. Let us know that you want to try it out. Maybe we can get you in. Because like I said, we're looking for 2 people that have not done the raid yet, so we can go through an experience and try to figure it out for ourselves. We're really excited. I'm pumped, man. This is it.
Dude, with everything that's going on with VR and Battlefield and all the stuff that's coming out, like, I'm super pumped for Wrath of the Machine. Like, this is the thing I'm most excited about, man. It's like to get into this new raid and play through with you guys. Like, this is gonna be awesome. I can't wait. Heard this raid's a ton of fun.
Dude, my Tuesday is awesome. I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna power through the Battlefield 1 campaign. That's my goal for Tuesday, just to play through the campaign in the afternoon, and then hop in and do the Wrath of the Machine with you guys tonight. Start it up. I'm pumped.
Can't wait.
Sunday night, we're going to work hard, get Frankie ranked up, and we'll be ready to party. It's going to be good times.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mr. Voice, for breaking that down. Moving along, an Amazon listing for Dark Horse Comics Art of Mass Effect Andromeda book appears to have been revealed with the release date of March 21st, 2017. That sounds cool. It's a cool looking art book. But in the pre-orders listing blurb, it states Dark Horse will release the art of Mass Effect Andromeda simultaneously with the game. So March 21st, 2017.
Do we know, is this a Tuesday?
If it's an EA joint, it's not off. It could be a Friday.
Let's check with Larry and Dave in the truck. March 21st is a Tuesday.
Oh boy.
Plot thickens.
There you go. Is that going to be the early enlister for Mass Effect? Then it comes out on Friday, but you can get it on.
There's a deluxe edition that's only $10 more. So
I don't know what would you early enlist with Mass Effect, unless they're planning to
have multiplayer.
Unless they're planning to add competitive multiplayer, which I don't see. I hope not.
You probably hope they add what they had in Mass Effect
yeah.
3, right? Because
Yeah.
that's all you and Taz ever played.
Dude, Taz put in about 800 hours into that multiplayer. Something just absurd along those lines.
Jeez.
I mean,
it is absurd.
I mean,
I've seen the number.
The 800 hours is probably what we've put into Destiny almost combined. that's an absurd amount of time to put into a game. So yeah, Mass Effect 3 multiplayer was awesome. So hopefully there's more of the same. They just jack it up to the next level with Andromeda. But yeah, March 21st is honestly probably a good release date for this game. You know, we're past a lot of the big titles that came out before this. We're getting into April. We don't know what's going to come out at that time. But this is probably, you can spend all spring into the summer playing Mass Effect Andromeda. This is probably a great release date if it's true.
Well, hopefully. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd like to have a Mass Effect game in March. That sounds pretty good.
The last Mass Effect 3
sorry, go ahead.
Mass Effect 3 came out in March. So there's precedent.
That's right, it
there's
did come out in
precedent
March,
there
didn't
for
it?
Mass Effect to come out in March.
Frankie, what do you think about Mass Effect in March, man? You'll have all that time to hammer everything out in January and February, and then boom, here's your Mass Effect.
that's not true. The beginning of March also sucks. So
What's at the beginning of March?
what do we got? Ghost Recon.
Oh, that's right.
I think there are two other big ones in March. I assume South Park's gonna land in March.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be great. South Park and Mass Effect in the same month.
Let's just leave February alone. Let's just stay out of February. That's all set.
There's a lot of games that have a Q1 2017 listing with no actual date yet, so a lot of those could fall in that March window as well, like Ukulele
They have to.
or something like
They
that.
have to. They can't go in February. Nobody else can launch in February. It has to be March going forward.
Also, with March being the end of the fiscal year, I think it makes sense that Mass Effect tries to sneak in there at the end of it. Plus, there's probably going to be a lot of games that are trying to get in this fiscal year to please investors,
Right.
so March could be busy.
Hitman season finale gets a release date. It's coming out this month on Halloween, October 31st. The season finale, which takes place in Hokkaido, Japan. The mission is called Situs in Versus and will take place in the grounds of the Gamma Private Hospital and Resort. IO says this secluded facility is a fusion of Japanese beauty and cutting-edge technology, featuring its own Zen gardens, organic sushi restaurant, and traditional Japanese hot spring. Well, I mean, what do you guys think about that, boys? I mean, here we are. I think Hitman did a great job getting their content out on schedule. The season finale comes out this month. What do you think of that, man?
I think that's awesome. I've personally dropped the ball on this heavily. Like I have not kept up on Hitman season at all. So that's terrible because I really wanted to play through this. Heard great things about it. By all accounts, it's been a great experience through all 6 episodes and bonus episodes, and I haven't kept up on like the elusive targets and all that kind of stuff as well. So I've missed a lot with Hitman's first season. So hopefully they go out on top here. I don't have any reason to believe they wouldn't. The other episodes have been received very well. Japan in this particular setting with this kind of high-tech Japanese setting sounds like a really cool setting for a Hitman game. So I can imagine this is going to be a really cool environment.
Yeah, I'm actually planning this week and possibly next week, depending how long it takes. I'm going to feature Hitman on the morning grind. I'm just going to play through episode 3 and 4. I'm going to try to play through everything I can to get caught up for this final episode. So Hitman will be featured all this week on the morning grind. I'm going to try to get my way through that and start reviewing the final episodes, get it ready for a final review of the entire product. So Hitman, from what I've played, but the chapters I have played, I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to make a point to try to get through these and finally play all these other missions that I've missed out on, just like you have. So, Frank, you excited to play a little Hitman at the end of the month?
Yeah, that's one that I really, really want to get back to. I really enjoyed. I slacked on that thing so hard since playing the prologue in Paris, but that's a game I'd really like to get back to. I just want to make note too, really quick here, that this is, I think, the 11th elusive target is in the game right now in Marrakesh. So they're here until the 21st. That's Friday. So
got it.
If you happen to Hitman this week, maybe on the morning grind, you will head to Marrakesh.
I will be in Marrakesh, so there's a good possibility I'll hop in there and try doing the elusive target.
Yeah,
that elusive target is so intense. I love doing the elusive targets. So good. Now, in terms of episodic stuff, the most shocking news this week is King's Quest Episode 5 gets a release date and a physical edition.
Wow.
Dude, the finale is coming this month. King's Quest Episode 5 is coming out this month, Bender.
And so soon after the last episode. That's impressive.
Right?
Bender, have you played Episode 4 yet?
I still haven't played Episode 4. I wasn't in a hurry.
Look, they're trying to cater to you, and you're not even playing their games.
I wasn't in a hurry. I figured it would be months before Episode 5 came out.
Well, there you go. Now you got to play through 4 because 5 is coming out next week, and it's getting a physical edition. Frankie, any interest in the physical edition?
Actually, maybe. I think this is an Xbox only release. So I know it's kind of like one of the Telltale things where if you buy the Xbox One version, the first 4 episodes are on the disc, and Episode 5 is a download. If you buy the 360 version, the first episode is on the disc, and the rest are downloads. But I was looking, and there's no platinum trophy, so I don't know. I'm not opposed to popping a disc on Xbox and running through those. I'm not going to wait 6 more years for that epilogue to come out. So, and I mean, Bender has spoken very highly of what he played. It just sounds like this, unfortunately, was a game that, it would be like if Life is Strange. No, you know what? I know a better analogy with this one because it's the same exact boat. Blues and Bullets. That's a game that I feel has an extremely strong narrative. It's an awesome concept, and the story is really good. But the fact that it's taking a year in between episodes just completely sinks that ship. So
right.
I'm looking forward to actually playing them though, because like I mentioned, Bender has spoken highly of it, and it sounds fun. So I'll probably end up picking that up actually when I'll play it. Who knows? But such is life.
It drops on October 25th, the same day that Batman, the Telltale series, episode number 3 drops. October 25th, the New World Order will drop on Xbox One, PC, and PlayStation 4. A lot of episodic content dropping at the end of the month. You've got King's Quest Episode 5, Batman Episode 3, and the season finale to Hitman, all in October. Lots of episodic stuff coming out this month, you guys. That's pretty sweet.
Cool.
Dude, I'm so happy Telltale is not dropping the ball on this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they stuck to their guns. They're doing pretty good on this one.
Yeah,
they are, and it's been a great series so far. I don't know if the rest of you have caught up with it, but man, I'm really excited to play episode 3.
I haven't touched episode 2 yet. Is it pretty good?
It's short and it's really good. The story kind of heats up in that one. A lot of interesting things go down.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
but hey, we're gonna take a quick break. We've got some music here from Ruel Ethan, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. Thanks again to Ruel Ethan for providing the music for this podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Ruel Ethan. Find his music on SoundCloud and iTunes. Thank you again for your support. We really do appreciate it. All right, boys, we're jumping into some PlayStation news. What do we got going on in the world of PlayStation?
You know, we had a little trademark from Square Enix a little while back for something called Stormblood. We were all wondering what that might be in reference to. And we now know. It's for a expansion to Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. The next expansion coming next summer, 2017. Stormblood will be upon us. We got a teaser trailer for it. A very cool teaser trailer. Looks like something out of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's like this epic like martial arts battle between these. I think one guy is called the Warrior of Light. I think that's his name. He's fighting some girl in red. Looks really awesome. I unfortunately haven't kept up with the Realm Reborn, so I don't know if these are some of the new classes that we'll be seeing in this game, like this martial arts class or some of the stuff we saw in this trailer. But yeah, looks to be another epic expansion to Final Fantasy XIV. It's gonna raise the max level. It's gonna add new raids and dungeons and everything all the stuff that people love about this game. The main thing too, it's gonna add a whole new story chapter to go through, a whole new campaign, whole new storyline, which involves the liberation of Alamigo, as it's called. And this villain, man, this dude looks totally badass. This guy, this looks like a savage, man. So yeah, Stormblood, I'd imagine is gonna be really awesome. Got a piece of Yoshitaka Amano art as well, which love that dude. Longtime Final Fantasy artist. So Brent, why aren't we playing this game, man? And what do you think about what you've seen of Stormblood here?
First of all, that trailer was badass.
Yeah.
That fight, like at the top of that statue of a hand overlooking like this valley, this mountainside, like city that's there. It looked awesome. And I sent you a text. And I was like, dude, can we just change this website to a Destiny / Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn site, where all we do is play those two games, talk about it, write articles, make videos? I'd be totally down with that. I'd even squeeze in some Elder Scrolls Online. Just make it an MMO / Destiny website, and that's all we're going to do. Frank, and I see you got your hand up.
The PS3 support's ending with this expansion as well.
It's ending before this expansion, yeah, so this expansion will not come to PS3.
It won't.
This is it. This is it for the PS3.
Oh. Wah, wah, wah.
So when Stormblood hits, it will only be on the PlayStation 4, and that will be the end of PlayStation 3 support.
Wow. It's too bad.
Yeah, this looks really cool, and this is going to be the second major expansion. We had Heaven's Ward not too long ago, so that was a huge expansion to the game. And you know, there's these big expansions which add tons of stuff to the game, tons of storylines and all that kind of stuff. But these updates they put out in between these expansions, they all do that stuff too. Like they add new storylines to the game, or they extend the current storyline that's going on. They add a raid here or there, and different things that you can do in the game. So they get these smaller scale things that release in between these big releases, and I hope that's the kind of system we see from Destiny 2 when that comes out. If we see more of the consistent content releases, and that sounds like something that they're going to work on, like we talked about on the show a few weeks ago. But yeah, summer 2017. They're probably going to have some kind of collector's edition with this as well, which I'll probably end up splurging for. But I bought the last one with the dragging because I thought that looked awesome. So yeah, I don't know, dude. I want to play this game again at some point. Moving on, Sony is going to reportedly jump into the mobile game business pretty hard come 2018 with, quote, 5 or more mobile games around the end of March 2018 planned to be released. This is due to a report from Nikkei, the popular Japanese publication. This will initially target Japanese and Asian audiences. That I'd imagine that these games would come over here as well. But it almost sounds like Sony's gonna jump into the mobile pool much in the same way Nintendo has. So this just feels like a very similar vibe that I'm getting from this release. But according to the report, Sony will release new games based on pre-existing PlayStation properties, as well as older games that haven't been ported to its current hardware. The games will also be connectable to consoles, similar to the PlayStation Vita's crossplay functionality. So that's a very interesting addendum to this. Nikai says titles currently in development will likely be announced later this year and will target Japan and other Asian territories, as we mentioned. The mobile company ForwardWorks will distribute the games. If you'll remember, this was something we mentioned a little while back, a few months back, when Sony created this ForwardWorks group to focus on mobile games. So we're seeing their name mentioned here. No information about what properties will be used or if the games will be exclusive to a particular company, such as Apple or Android, was given. So, very interesting. I don't know. What do you think about this, Brent? Sony getting ready to go all in on the mobile business.
For them, that's awesome because they'll probably make a lot of money off of it. For me, zero interest.
I'm there with you. Bender, Frankie, what about you guys? Any interest in Sony mobile properties? Or I guess the one thing that's interesting is this ability to connect the consoles and to maybe play the game via console. So they mention here older games that haven't been ported to its current hardware. So that's kind of an interesting wrinkle to it. I don't know, Bender, what do you think about this idea, man?
Could be interesting depending on what they do. I mean, not all mobile games are bad. I mean,
yes, they are, Bender. Stop it.
So I mean, yeah, it kind of depends on what they do.
Dude, you mentioned them bringing back series. I swear to God, if they make like a breach and clear type of game called SOCOM 2 mobile, I'll just disown Sony. I'll just never buy anything. I'll sell all my Sony stuff and be like, I am done with you.
Dude, this could be the window to finally get SOCOM back, right?
Dude, don't, no. This is not an option, period.
I would be shocked if SOCOM returned as a mobile property. I don't know, Frankie, what do you think about this, man? What do you think about this idea of it's based on pre-existing properties, so they're going to obviously leverage some of the PlayStation brands. But I don't know, I'm kind of intrigued by this idea of older games that haven't been ported to current hardware, and this idea that it will be connectable to consoles similar to crossplay functionality with the Vita.
I don't know. It confuses me only because they had a mobile division, didn't they?
They had
They are-
PlayStation Mobile. That's correct.
Yeah,
but
so, I mean, they
but
were
they
already-
didn't make games for phones. Like, they made games for the Vita or for the PSP. They've never gone all in on mobile developed games that were really designed with a touch enabled Android or iOS device in mind.
That's fine, I suppose. I mean, if they're as good as the Nintendo games have been, I'll probably try them out. I still think Miitomo was pretty cool for 2 weeks, but it was a free game. It's longer than I played a lot of phone games, so I agree with you for the most part though. In terms of the phone games, I don't think they're always that great. They cause my phone to get really hot and overheat sometimes. I don't like that. So that being said, though, I want to say Deus Ex Go, but all the Go games that Square Enix has put out, like Hitman, Deus Ex, and Lara Croft, all those games have been really fun. Just kind of coming, like I said, at the expense of my phone overheating. So if Sony can put out some stuff, kind of in the same vein, like Uncharted Go or something, I realize that, it's probably not smart to do the same exact thing, but some of that stuff could actually work out pretty well.
Cool. Yes, we'll have to see how it all works out. Come 2018, we'll see what's going on. Fellas, that little Bandicoot guy, he's back in the news again. But we could possibly have a maybe release date for Crash Bandicoot Remastered with a possible piece of box art here. All right, this is via a couple of European retailers. So the Crash Bandicoot's release date was leaked a couple of days ago. This was a few days back now on a Finnish retailer known as VPD.fi. The listing was discovered on Reddit and mentioned that the game will release on February 28th, 2017. Gee, what else is coming out in Q1 2017? I don't know, guys. Everything. At the time, it was unclear whether or not this was a placeholder date for the retailer, but we highly suspect it would be because it's also got the same date as PlayStation 4 exclusive Horizon Zero Dawn. As previously mentioned, it's not unheard of for games to release on the same date. And while the game is third-party through Activision, we would anticipate that Sony would want such a prestigious title. They wouldn't want such a prestigious title launching on the same day as their newest IP. Now, though a second retailer listing has been spotted, this time from Zillion Games, a Brazilian retailer who also appears to carry the same February 28th, 2017 release date. The plot thickens. So we've got two retailers. They both got the same date. On top of the listing, the Brazilian retailer is also listed with a decent looking box art cover for the game that has not been seen anywhere else before. But despite looking halfway decent, there's no way this image can be anything other than a fan-made piece of box art rather than anything official. Because why would this this Brazilian retailer be the only people with box art for this game? Who knows? But I don't know. Frankie, what do you think, man? Anything to these dates, being that two separate sources have it?
I mean, like, yes, I know that's a Tuesday, and yes, like that's, Horizon Zero Dawn's coming out that day, but at the same time, I don't see Crash Bandicoot coming out the same day that another big exclusive for the platform is coming out.
Yeah.
Sure, it's possible, but Sony typically tries to avoid that. I mean, I could see the same month, sure, but also, I that seems more as a placeholder time frame for me. Like, obviously, within like Q1, Q2 next year, I'd expect that game, but I honestly would be kind of shocked if it came out same day as Horizon.
Yeah. What do you think, Brett?
I think it's just the most interesting thing is that they both had the same day.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I don't see that coming out at that time. It just won't make any sense.
Yeah.
For Sony, anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the end it's just a weird coincidence. I mean, we don't know anything about this game. We don't know how far along it is. I'd imagine that the PlayStation experience will shed some light on this. If for some reason it happens to be February 28th, then so be it. But yeah, I find it hard to believe that this Finnish retailer and this Brazilian website would be the only people that somehow have access to this Crash Bandicoot data. So I'm gonna chalk it up as a weird coincidence for placeholder dates. We'll see though. I think PSX is the spot where we hear more about that. Got a couple of games getting pro support. This is the interesting thing here. NBA 2K17 getting PS4 Pro support, but not only PS4 Pro support, getting native 4K at 60 frames Pro support. Now, I don't know, guys. I'm confused about this because when the system was unveiled, we heard all this stuff about not being able to run native 4K. From what we understand of the technology that's in this thing, like this shouldn't be possible, right? For a game that looks like NBA 2K17, for that game to run at 4K at 60 frames per second, I mean, is that supposed to be possible? Like, I'm just confused at this point because we're seeing a lot of games coming out saying they're going to be native 4K on the Pro, and the narrative up until this point was this was not going to be possible. So Brent, talk to me, man. What's going on here?
It's almost like these developers are just putting themselves in a real bad position for when people start analyzing these games. Because, I mean, you can sit there and say this game's getting native 4K, 60 frames, but you better believe Digital Foundry and some of these other people are going to break these games down.
Yeah.
And there's going to be one or two things. Either the developers are full of shit or people completely underestimated the PS4 Pro.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know which one it's going to be. It's just very strange.
Frankie, what do you think about all this, man? I mean, we're seeing more and more games come out. Seemingly every week, there's a new game that's like, hey, we're putting our foot in for PS4 Pro support, and by the way, it's going to be native 4K. We talked about Fallout last week, or Skyrim, sorry. So I don't know. What do you think about all this, man? There's got to be at least 4 or 5 games that have come out and said they're going to be native 4K on this thing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, like I don't know. Like I still don't really understand like the whole 4K thing itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what exactly resolution constitutes as being. I know it's 21 something, but then I know
2160
something.
or something like that.
Yeah,
1440,
but then like a 14. Yeah, that gets thrown out a lot. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Are we upscaling? Like, is it actually going to be hitting like that resolution, but doing the checkerboard thing? Like, I don't understand how a lot of this stuff works. So, I mean, like, it's easy for them to make that claim now before the system is actually out. So, I mean, we don't have really much of a choice other than to kind of take their word at it right now. But that's kind of insane because, like you say, like NBA 2K, the 2K games like look amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I guess time will tell.
Yeah. I mean, they don't beat around the bush here. They're like, not only are we giving you a native 4K image, we're giving you 60 frames a second as well. So it's like, geez, okay.
That's actually kind of the part too that's throwing me for a loop because, Like last I was aware, there's even like the high end graphic cards, like they struggle doing 4K 60.
Yeah, yeah, they do. I mean, you need a insanely powerful rig to run a game at 4K at anything above like 30 frames a second. So,
Mhm.
so we got some lofty claims coming from NBA 2K17 here. Bender, where you at on this 4K debate, man? I mean, like I said, we're hearing more and more about this now, and NBA 2K17 just shooting for the stars on this one, man.
I don't know. It makes me wonder if they're actually going to be able to deliver. Um,
Yeah,
seems like a pretty lofty promise. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. So I'm not sure.
yeah, I'll be interested to see how that one turns out. If that does hit 4K 60 frames, that's pretty beefy. In other PS4 Pro news, how about this one, Brent? Outlast 2 getting PS4 Pro support. We don't know exactly what this is going to entail, but this game will be beefed up by this system. How does that make you feel, man?
Uh, I don't know. I guess it makes it more a better looking, terrifying
There you go.
experience.
You can be unnerved in a higher resolution. Huh? How
Half the time I'm not looking at the screen, anyways. I'm just looking up the side, like, okay, open the door, open the door.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll be interested to see what they can do with the extra power on that thing. That's already a cool looking game. So yeah, I can't wait for that game, man. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Got some PSVR nuggets we want to mention here too. Um, PlayStation VR now estimated to sell more than 2 million units by the end of the year. This is according to market research company Super Data Research. But more specifically, the company projects PSVR will sell near 2,602,370 units after the headset's been released here. That's a lot of units. You know,
It is.
we've spanned the gamut in terms of numbers for PSVR from these analysts. Got some people saying, they're going to hit 1 million, they're going to sell a few 100,000 at launch, they're going to hit this by the end of this fiscal year. But this is the first time we've heard 2.6 million units in this year in 2016. So that's a lot of headsets. I mean, there's clearly a lot of interest in the unit. Um, Sony, for their part, they've ramped up development on this thing. They took the pre-orders for the allocation that they originally had. They were able to crank out even more units, so they've got lots in the pipeline. So they're anticipating a lot of demand for this unit. Um, so yeah, we'll see if they can hit that very lofty goal. But I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, just from what we hear, I mean, it seems like PSVR is like a big thing, right? Like a lot of people interested in this.
I guess I kind of want to hear how they did at launch.
Mhm.
So I mean, we'll get an idea of how close they're going to get to this 2.6 million once we find out what the launch numbers were like. And then after that you can kind of figure out, okay, November's coming up, maybe the same amount, maybe a little bit more with the rush, the holidays, the Black Fridays and whatnot, and then you can kind of get an idea of what they're going to finish at.
Yeah.
But I think we need to hear what the first month's numbers were to kind of get an idea of where, if they're going to hit that mark or they're even going to be close.
Yeah. And Sony has come out and said they're expected to sell hundreds of thousands of units at launch. So that's a pretty solid number. Jim Ryan came out and told CNBC, "We know from the data we have from pre-orders that the interest we have is significant," adding that many hundreds of thousands of units are expected to be sold at launch. We have made decisions to further increase capacity at the back end of 2016 and into 2017, so there are going to be a lot of PlayStation VRs around the world. Whether that's enough to satisfy the demands of the market, we'll see. So that's what I was alluding to there. Sony has cranked up production on these things. They've seen maybe more interest than they originally anticipated in this device, and they're trying to meet that demand through their production. So we'll see, man. It's going to be interesting to watch how it all plays out. And they probably want to keep it going because this thing's selling at a profit. So so good for them. They were able to release a unit, sell it at a profit. So it seems like this is going to be a lucrative item for them at the very least for this year. Then there's this strange story about how you can use PSVR with Xbox One and PC. This is just through the included cinematic mode. You can actually hook it up to an Xbox One or a PC if you so choose. Why you'd ever do it, who knows? Like you guys alluded to a little bit earlier in the show. It's not the greatest resolution for this stuff, so why you'd ever do that, who knows? But it's an option. Frankie, Danganronpa VR could come west. How's that make you feel?
I've heard that one's actually kind of interesting. So I'm excited. I hope it does.
Mhm.
I think as we got the Vita games coming to PS4. That's maybe kind of testing the waters to see where the PS4 audience is for Danganronpa.
Mhm.
So maybe if that does well, we'll see the VR version come over. So that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, they've pretty much brought every Danganronpa game over here, right? So by from what we can guess, the third version is going to come over here after the updated version of 1 and 2 release early next year. What do you know about this one? What do you know anything about what this VR experience is or what it does?
No, because initially they were saying it wasn't going to come west, so I didn't even bother looking into it.
Gotcha.
I didn't want to see it and then go, man, I need to set up one of those shady Japanese PSN accounts to download this,
Yeah.
but didn't do it.
Gotcha. All right, so we'll keep our eye on that, see if it makes its way over here. Brent Robinson, The Journey. It's coming out next month.
Dude, that's the one I'm looking forward to. I mean, outside of like E Valkyrie and Farpoint, which is a ways off. I'm really excited for Farpoint, but this is the one that when we first saw the PSVR's reveal,
Yeah.
when we saw the trailer for Robinson: The Journey, I was like, this right here is the game I want to play. This is the experience I want to have with VR. And the fact that it's coming out next month is just like I am thrilled to death. Like I am super excited for Robinson: The Journey.
Yeah. November 8th is the release date on it.
Oh man.
Just to remind our listeners, in Robinson: The Journey, you assume the role of young boy Robin, whose ship has crashed on the surface of the planet, which is teeming with dinosaurs. Exploring Tyson 3 with your robot companion Higgs and baby T-Rex Leica, you'll work together to solve puzzles, uncover secrets, and survive in hostile territory. This sounds like a pretty epic game.
Yes.
So is this going to be a more like full-scale game, do you know? Or what are we getting
Man,
from Robinson?
I hope so. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I just know Crytek doesn't go small; they go big. So I have high expectations to the point where I probably need to curb them back a little bit. But just the potential here, the setting, everything about that, everything that I've seen about this game, I just want to be in that world.
Yeah.
I want to. That's what I have no problem saying. That's one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, I bought a VR headset.
Yeah, we talked about resolution and fidelity earlier too, and I wonder what a Crytek game is going to look like underneath the headset. Like, is this going to be our first glimpse of maybe a game that takes it to the next level in terms of visuals? I mean, when we saw the trailers for this game, the trailers look awesome, but that's one thing. We don't know what it's going to look like when you actually put on the headset. Bender, you're kind of looking forward to Robinson too, right?
Yeah, definitely. Just from the trailers we've seen, looks pretty intense and pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Running around with the dinosaurs and everything. So
Yeah.
that looks like it's going to be a really cool game.
Yeah, dude, I'm thinking about that like first time when you're gonna be walking through a path and like there's a stampede of like brontosauruses running towards you, and you look up and you see these like massive creatures like running by you. Like, how cool is that gonna be in VR
dude, I'm
to
ready.
experience that?
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play that, and then I'm gonna immediately want Jurassic
Yeah.
Park the video game
Dude.
VR headset. I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm sold.
yeah, dude. If somebody's not making Jurassic Park the VR experience, can we get on that like now? Like, imagine just playing through the first movie, like playing through the T-Rex encounter when they
I'd be
first
fine with
when
that.
they first encountered him in the Jeep. Like, just going through that would be insane. Or just any number of things. The raptor chase, just seeing the dinosaurs for the first time. Like let's get on that. Let's get on Jurassic Park the VR experience.
Please.
Must go faster. Must go faster.
Oh yeah, dude, we definitely need a digital
Jeff Goldblum.
Dr. Ian Malcolm with us. So you married? Occasionally. I'm a big Jurassic Park fan. I love that movie. All right, let's move on here. Native PlayStation 4 controller support is coming to Steam. This is cool. So obviously, the Xbox controller has built-in Steam support on it now. You can use a PlayStation controller on there currently. I do it all the time when I play Steam games. But now the client or whatever to use the DualShock 4 will be built right into Steam. So you'll be able to pull up the controller. It'll have the DualShock buttons on it and all that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. You see PlayStation kind of dabbling more and more with the PC side of things. They've got that wireless adapter now. They've got the remote play on the PC. They're gonna have the Steam support now. So they're kind of slowly making their way over to the PC scene. We'll see how much further they dip their toe into that water in the months to come here. A couple more things here we want to mention. A roguelike RPG, Tuho Genso Wanderer, will come to the PS4 and Vita on February 7th. Paragon's Shadow's Eve event happening right now. So there's a couple games that have Halloween events going on right now. Paragon's one of them. Get in there, get some new skins and things that are available. This goes for a couple weeks. So if you're a Paragon fan, jump into that. And then if you bought a PS3 before 2010, Sony owes you some money. There's
How much?
there's a couple different ways that this class action lawsuit goes. If you can prove that you use the other OS feature on the system prior to, I believe it's April of 2010, when the feature was removed due to this was due to security reasons, like people could hack into the console via the other OS feature, so they had to remove it. But if you can prove that you use other OS to either install Linux on your system or something along those lines, you'll be entitled to a payout of $55 from Sony. If you just use the system and you can't prove all that, you can get $9 from them. So if you so choose to partake in this, $9 or $55 are waiting for you.
$9 goes a long way at Taco Bell. Just
There you
saying.
go, man. That's almost two $5 boxes.
Now I know what I'm doing once we're done with this.
It's almost 2 chances to win PSVR.
And to close things out, we got some Xbox news. First up, the Xbox One is the top-selling console in September. Citing numbers provided to it by the NPD group, Xbox One was the best-selling console in September in the U.S., making it the top seller for the third month in a row. So the Xbox One S still riding strong. We've actually got there's some rumored NPD software and hardware data for some September that got leaked, and we're actually getting like actual numbers for some games and for the systems. First up, the top 3 selling games for last month, according to this leak, were NBA 2K17, Madden 17, and FIFA 17. So sports fanatics galore, they took over for the month of September. Forza Horizon 3 sold 150,000 copies. Now, this is just in 5 days. Obviously, I'm expecting a little bit better numbers for the next month. But then again, if a lot of people were buying Forza Horizon 3, they were going to buy it at launch. So maybe it won't be anywhere near 150,000. I mean, that could be worrisome, but who knows? But that's also about the same output that BioShock saw. They saw about 150,000 copies sold. ReCore, unfortunately, less than 50K. Less than 50,000 copies sold. That's rough. Uncharted 4 still sold near 100,000 copies thanks to the bundle. GTA 5, 152,000 copies, up 15% from last year. People be loving their GTA 5, man. Good Lord. And here's a staggering number, a staggering drop. No Man's Sky, which sold 500,000 copies in August, was under 50K last month. So that just about sums up where that's at.
Dropping off quick.
Very quick. In terms of hardware sales, the original PlayStation 4 outsold the PS4 Slim by a lot. 175,000 Black Ops 3 bundles compared to just 100,000 PS4 Slim. I'm curious, do you think that's just because the Slim doesn't have the Blu-ray drive or the 4K Blu-ray drive, or do you think people are holding out for the Pro? What do you think? I mean, obviously the Xbox One S took off. That thing's doing great. What do you think, the lack of a Blu-ray drive, or do you think people are holding out for Pro is why the Slim did so poorly? I wouldn't say poorly, but it didn't do nearly as well as it should have, or we thought it would.
I think it's basically just the idea that the PS4, it wasn't begging for a slim model. The slim PS4 doesn't do much different from the original PS4, and the original PS4s, and especially the Black Ops bundle, like there was a lot of sales going on them throughout the month. So a lot of people get in there taking advantage of that. Like, hey, this is not much different from the new slim version of the PS4, so I'm gonna grab this one, get the game included with it, and be on my merry way. So there's like I said, there's not much to differentiate the two systems. So people are going to take advantage of the discounted bundle that's on sale with the game. Just makes sense.
Right. A couple more interesting tidbits. The 3DS sold more this September than it did last September. And here we go. PS3, the dying horse. The PS3 outsold the Wii U 41,000 to 36,000. Wow.
I wonder why that is. It says PS3 sales are up 54% on the year. Like, what caused that spike? There was no
I
price
have no
drop or
idea.
anything.
Frankie, any thoughts on that?
Trails of Cold Steel 2.
Is that the driving force? That's impressive. That's some power right there. And then lastly, the Xbox One sold 330,000 units in September, up 13% from last year. Compared to the PS4, which in combined sold 285,000 units, down 19% from last year. So clearly a shift in the tide here. Xbox One enjoying a lot of sales with the Xbox One Slim. Whether or not PlayStation 4 is able to kind of get a bump with the PS4 Pro next month, curious to see what this month's numbers look like with the VR in there mixing things up. Should be pretty interesting for NPD next month, that's for sure. And I mean, this is obviously, October is a big month, but it's November and December are the big month. I mean, the numbers. If you win those 2 months, you're doing a ton of sales compared to like the summer months in September.
Yeah, the other part of it too is if you're planning to buy a PS4 right now, I mean, really the price gap between the regular model and the Pro model is only $100. So I'd imagine if you've been eyeing a PlayStation 4 and you've waited this long, like why not just spend the extra $100 and get the PS4 Pro next month?
Right.
You know, so that's got to factor into what some people are thinking. I mean, if I was waiting out for the system, that's what I'd be thinking. I'd be like, well, if I just wait another month, I can spend $100 more, and I got the brand new model that's this much more powerful.
Right. No, that makes total sense, and that's probably why the numbers are down a little bit. But whether or not the Pro is going to be enough to derail the Xbox train, we don't know yet. But Xbox One enjoying a lot of success so far, and heading into a strong holiday with Gears of War 4 and Forza Horizon 3 kind of powering it along. It's looking pretty good for Xbox. Going on from NPD, we've got Cuphead has been delayed until mid-2017. God, we have to wait longer for this game.
And
Can we just get this game?
dude, mid 2017, that's almost another year.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's getting pushed out a ways. The studio revealed the delay in a new blog post saying that throughout this year we discussed reducing the scope to make a 2016 release, but we made the difficult decision to delay the launch in order to ship with our vision intact.
what vision is that?
I don't know. I mean, well, this game was originally showcased as a boss rush game, so I'm assuming that was the original vision.
Yeah.
And then a platforming gameplay was revealed for the upcoming title earlier this year. So they're trying to order and launch this game in order to ship with their vision of intact. Well, stop changing your vision.
Yeah, exactly.
You keep changing your vision of the game, you're going to delay this game for a long, long time. I mean, come mid 2017, you're going to be like, man, I actually envisioned this.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to, 6 months later, I envision this. So, well, what is your vision?
Dude, I read a few things too that people weren't too keen on some of the platforming gameplay that was revealed for the game. So I don't know. Maybe they should have just stuck with the original like boss rush mode vision that everybody was loving when it was originally unveiled.
That's strange, Frankie. I mean, what's your thoughts on this game constantly evolving? I mean, were you pretty pumped? Were you pretty pumped just to buy the boss rush game, and now they're adding platforming, and now who knows what else they're adding with their vision constantly changing?
Yeah, there was a point that I was excited, but this is one of those games kind of like Below that I feel like we've been talking about for years now, and it's
Yes.
still not out, and I'm just, what I mean? It's like with No Man's Sky, just as the longer that this thing has been in development, it's coming, it's delayed, it's coming, it's delayed, like my interest just wanes every time I hear, oh, well, you're going to have to wait, like, 8 more months. Like, oh. All right, well, whatever. That takes a lot of wind out of the sails.
At least this delay, their blog post wasn't as grim as Below's. Remember Below? They're like, we're going dark for like the
Yeah.
next year. We're like, wow. That was grim. Bender, what are your thoughts, man? I mean, when you first saw Cuphead as just a boss rush game, and then you heard about the delay, we're adding platforming, and now what more could they possibly add to this game that you want to justify another delay?
I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to perfect the platforming and everything. I think it'd be cool if they. I mean, I kind of like the idea of them adding some platforming stuff to it and not just being a boss rush mode. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the delay is about exactly, but I kind of agree with Frankie though. It's your excitement goes down with each delay. I still want
Mhm.
to play the game, but it's I'll just have to just forget about it, and then when it comes out, I'll be like, oh yeah, Cuphead, I'll play it. But for now, I'll just yeah, it's whatever.
I just hope they're not getting too like over ambitious and
Mm.
changing this game and making it something else. I thought this game looked awesome. It still looks awesome based on the last thing we saw, but I mean, just don't tinker with it too much. Moving along, Fury, the super easy game that launched on PlayStation 4 a couple months ago, is making its way to Xbox One.
It's a cinch.
All they did was really announce that it was coming to Xbox One. The developer said, we'll be announcing the Xbox One release date soon with exclusive content and a new boss encounter.
Mhm.
So one more boss for Xbox owners to pull their hair out fighting. Fury is just a punishingly difficult game, but rewarding if you can actually get by the bosses.
Yeah, it's a super fun game to play. Cool mechanics, very cool look to it. Yeah, it's really fun when you can pull it off. It's just you really gotta hone your skills when you play this game. It's
There is,
difficult
like-
as hell, but very cool.
Very little room for error in that
Yeah,
game.
no
You really
room for
can't.
error.
You can't goof up at all, else you'll pay for
Yeah.
it. Bender, did you platinum that yet?
No, I got to the second boss, and I was like, man, this game is hard. I was like, I don't think this is gonna be a game that I'm gonna want to keep playing. I'll get too frustrated.
It is a very difficult game. You need to have infinite patience with it.
Dude, I tried like hell to beat that second boss on the indie spotlight when we ran it. I just could not do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was a fun one to watch. I love when you pick those games. That's the best. Just slowly watching you just crumble mentally and go from reserve voice to like what the F voice. That's my favorite. Those are my favorite streams. Those are the best of times.
It's good to know. My descent into madness amuses you.
Moving along to Gears of War 4, a new update was just deployed. The Coalition has issued a new server-side update that makes it easier for players to earn credits, the shooter's in-game currency. The update brings down the cost of an elite pack from 5,000 to 4,000 to 3,500 credits and increases the amount of match completion bonus credits rewarded from versus multiplayer. These changes were made after monitoring the data and hearing player feedback, which helped the Coalition determine that previous calculations for credit rewards were under expectations. The update does come with a small display bug that may show 0 credits earned from a match bonus, but according to the post, players can rest assured they're still earning credits and their true balance will be shown in their credit wallet. I didn't even know there were credits you can earn. I'm not playing multiplayer, but at least they've lowered the numbers to make it a little bit easier to achieve the amounts that you need to unlock those elite packs. Frankie, quick thoughts. We played through. We beat Gears of War 4. We beat the campaign. What are your thoughts on it, man?
Oh, dude, 0 out of 10. That was just a train wreck of a game. No, that was a lot of fun. I was really happy because I've always wanted to play through a full Gears game, and it's one of those things that continues to fall, further and further back on the list. But, dude, just that game seriously picked up. Like once we got out of Act 3, like it just gained a ton of steam getting out of there, getting through Act 4. Act 5 was just amazing. That was a ton of fun. I don't want to talk about too much. Those of you picking it up, play it, enjoy it. It's fun. Yeah, but I'm like I said, I'm really happy we got to play through it. I was really actually completely surprised just how good the story was.
Yep.
I came into this game with extremely low expectations for the story. It's like, the gameplay's probably gonna be what carries this. It's Gears of War. People don't really ever talk about the story, but damn, that campaign was awesome. So like completing it, there's an end credit scene. Watch it, awesome. I'm excited for Gears of War 5. Like whenever, just give me Gears 5 now. I'll be there on day one as well, but not for a new console. Don't make a Gears 5 console.
I'm with you, Frankie. I really enjoyed the campaign. I thought it was a lot of fun. I want to go through and try to beat it on Insane, maybe get a third person in there, play through it on cooperative. I also want to spend some more time with the Horde mode. From what little I've played, I've really enjoyed it. I think it's got a lot of potential. Learning the different class types, upgrading the characters, trying to be the best teammate you can be with other people. It's a very cool mode. I really enjoyed Horde mode from what I have played. But no, campaign was a blast. Still zero interest in multiplayer, not because it's not good, but simply because I suck at it and I don't have the time it takes to get good at Gears multiplayer. It's something you have to invest a lot of time into. I tip my hat to those who are really good at it. You guys are awesome. I just have zero interest in spending the time needed to get good at Gears of War 4 multiplayer. Frankie covered it. Stick around for the end credits scene. That's fantastic. I thought the weakest point was Act 3. It was a little too drawn out, but like you mentioned, Act 4 picks it back up. Act 5 knocks it out of the park. So, real simple. Play Gears of War 4. Play the campaign. If you're into the multiplayer, that's great, but spend some time in the campaign. Play it cooperatively. It's done very, very well. It's a very good game. I really enjoyed it. Awesome time. Lastly, for Xbox, some big titles are coming to EA Access, the EA Access Vault later this year. Now, later this year, I'm assuming it means 2016. Here are the titles you can expect to hit the Vault before 2017. Star Wars Battlefront, which came out in November 2015. That makes sense. UFC 2, well, that's March 2016. That's pretty good before the end of the year. Mirror's Edge Catalyst in June 2016. That's coming to the Vault already? That's 3 pretty big titles coming up. Dude, I don't know about you guys. I think EA Access is awesome. I think the Vault is great. To have Mirror's Edge Catalyst in there, not even 6 months after its launch, that's pretty generous. And that's it for the news this week. We did get an email. Ben, our friend Curtis, wrote in with a lengthy email. He sent this last week. We weren't able to get it into last week's show, but we got it in for this week's show. Ben, what does Curtis have to say?
All right, like you said, Brent, we got a big in here, so strap back. Let's listen to the sultry words of Curtis right into the Short Pause Gaming Podcast. So Curtis says, so I'd bet my bottom dollar the Scorpio will be either $449, or if the PS Pro drops in price, the Scorpio will come out at $399. I'll elaborate. Microsoft's war chest is so deep, that's war chest in quotes, is so deep that they will absolutely take a loss in the short term to boost sales and increase the install base. There's also a good chance they will offer a payment plan or something of that nature with a 2-year gold subscription. Now, this is something we talked about a while ago when the talk of these upgradable consoles or these mid-cycle refreshes were first introduced. Like introducing a concept of something like paying for a PlayStation Plus subscription or an Xbox Live subscription for X amount of years to get yourself a new console. I still think that that's something we could see in the future. So I think that's a good call there, Curtis. Try to think of it like this. If Xbox takes a loss on its hardware, it doesn't matter as long as Xbox as a whole is making a profit. Again, this is a short-term strategy they have employed before. In regards to the clickbait comment by Phil Spencer, remember we talked about this on the last show. He's right, and journalists and websites have admitted as much. I say this with the utmost respect to you, Brent, but let's see, let me count the zeros here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's like 1,000,000% wrong about media bias and understanding what it really is. When the Xbox 360 was doing very well last cycle, the amount of mediocre games getting lots of praise and coverage was significant. And on the flip side, Sony was getting shit for games that weren't so bad, but they had left a bad taste in people's mouths with the PS3 launch. Companies like IGN, GameSpot, etc., are a business, and they absolutely will take a side if they believe it will get the larger of two groups or install bases feeling agreeable or like-minded. Finally, the problem Phil Spencer, myself, and many others have with these reviews is simple. We get these arbitrary scores for each game. The scores are too often based on feelings and preferences instead of quantifiable qualities in relation to the type of game, the genre, and other specific factors. If a game is to be reviewed with a 1 to 10 or 1 to 100% scale, then it needs to be clearly defined what the parameters are, and if the reviewer's personal tastes are to be a contributing factor, they need to be clearly stated. I played Recore. It was a fun little platformer in my opinion. It was nothing groundbreaking, but it certainly wasn't bad or poor. I heard a relatively popular YouTube reviewer compare the climbing and graphics of Recore to Tomb Raider. He used that as a negative impact on the score. How can a $40 cartoonesque game get compared to Tomb Raider? This same reviewer has praised other games for being excellent and revolutionary, for taking risks and being unique for taking risks and being unique that has worse load times and worse technical issues. Reviewers' opinions are absolutely fine and welcome, but should never go into a numerical scoring system. Your definition of fun and mine may vary greatly. A little side note, the load times in Deus Ex Mankind Divided were horrible, but the game reviewed well and was never brought up as a serious negative to my knowledge. Fanboys will be fanboys, and they're the easiest to pick out, so I don't really have a problem with them, despite their annoying rhetoric and obsession. To sum it up, media bias is real and encouraged. It is not just for business and strategic reasons alone, and reviews should either be scientific based on quantifiable qualities or they should be opinion based, not both. A distinction should be made. It's not just Microsoft who suffers this problem, it's Sony, Nintendo, and everyone else as well. Sorry for the long email, but I think this perspective needs to be heard. Thanks for the show. I still love you guys most of the time. Curtis has a little addendum here as well, which we're going to add in. I forgot to say, I agree with Boyce about we should just get rid of numbers and just talk about the games and read people's in-depth feelings and experiences with the game. This is, of course, in respect to review scores for games. So, Curtis, thanks for that email, dude. Nice, long, well thought out email. Lots of good points in there. Brent, I'm gonna turn this over to you first, man. From Curtis's email here, what do you wanna respond to here?
You, Curtis.
Yeah.
Thanks, Curtis.
I'm just joking with you, Curtis. No, it's cool, man. Like I said, I'm sure there is media bias out there. Okay, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I just don't think it exists as much as people make it out to be. I really think there are people that just don't like games. I'm not going to sit there and assume that every single person has some form of bias involved. I do understand what media bias is, and I do understand that it does exist to an extent. But there are a lot of people who are reviewing games. If they don't like a game, they're going to score it low. It has nothing to do with media bias. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't agree that there's a whole bunch of media bias out there towards the PlayStation 4 or towards the Xbox One. I don't. I just really think some people don't like games, and that's the way it is when it comes to the reviews. So I like Curtis. And I was seriously just joking when I said F you. I think he makes a lot of good points in the email. I like his thoughts on reviews. And Boyce, we've talked about, do we really need numbered scores? And so, in some instances, we're trying to cater to a lot of people. We try to make our reviews in depth. We try to, so people want to read it, they can read through and get our thoughts on a game, things we like, things we didn't like. But we also have to keep in mind there's people that just want to come to the site and they just want to see the number and the pros and cons. And we have that at the bottom of the page. Mm-hmm. So, whether or not you agree with the number that we assign with what we say about a game, that's debatable. You can talk about that. But we have a plan in place with our scores. Our numbers all have extensive reasoning or explanations how we came to that score and why it got that score. So, I do think if it's done right, you can do numbers. You can have a numbered score. But in the end, I do wish that we could just say, okay, let's get away from scores and just write what we think about a game and let the player decide, what kind of score they would give it or, how we really feel about a game.
Yeah. Dude, I'm with you. We talked about this before. Curtis mentioned it there. If we could, I think we would just review games without review scores. I think reviews are much more powerful when they're just about the context of the review instead of the little number at the bottom of the review. So, and that's what people focus on. They don't read anything in the actual text of the review. They just go to the bottom, see the score, and they move on. And that's fine for certain things, but it doesn't really inspire like critical thinking about the game or really like in-depth conversation about a game. It's just a number, and it's an arbitrary number. And Curtis makes some good points in here about people not really expressing like what that number means. Like what our number means might not be, if let's say we give a game a 4 out of 5 here, that's going to be an 80% on Metacritic. It's going to be an 8 out of 10 somewhere else. But our 8 out of 10 here might not be the same 8 out of 10 at another site. Like we have a set of criteria that we want to follow when we review games. And I'll be honest, I don't think we do the best job at explaining that in our reviews, and that's something I want to address at some point. Like people don't really know what our scale means in terms of what we're looking for in our reviews. So what
Right.
what we try to do with our reviews is we try and mainly focus on the fun factor of a game. Like that's all we're concerned about. We want to know, is this game fun to play? Could you imagine this game being any more fun? What's everything that goes into the game ultimately determines just how fun it is. So, we're not going to individually score graphics and sound and all that kind of stuff. We're going to look at the game as a whole, find out how fun it is, and we're going to deliver a score based on that. So, I do think we need to do a better job of explaining that in our reviews about how our system works, and that's something I want to do for the future. So that's a little behind the curtains, Curtis, giving you a behind the scenes look.
Mm,
What's going
little
on
peek.
what's going on at Short Pause here. So, yeah, but I think you make some great points about reviews, man. It's a problem in this industry. It's something that as long as there's Metacritics and game rankings and some developers, like their bonuses and the way they're paid is tied to their Metacritic score, which is unbelievable.
That's crazy.
And some of these games are like, all right, if your game hits an 85 on Metacritic, you're paid this bonus. If your game hits an 80, you're paid this bonus. And that's crazy because the reviews are so disparate and that's a crazy practice. So until we can get away from stuff like that, there's still going to be review scores out there, and some publishers may not even want to give you your game to review if you don't have a score to attach to it, because like I said,
Hmm.
bonuses and things like that are tied to it, and that's how the industry as it currently sits perceives the quality of a game. It's based on that arbitrary number. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. But Bender, let's get you in on this. Any thoughts on Curtis's emails? We got talk about the price of the Scorpio. We got talk about the media bias, review scores. Chime in on any of that stuff, man.
I think you guys covered it pretty well. There's definitely, I mean, there's got to be some media bias. I mean, that's sometimes it's hard not to be biased about some things, and reviews are subjective to individuals. So, I mean, some people are biased against one thing or another. I mean, you may try to be as objective as possible, but I mean that's kind of impossible to be completely objective in a review. So, I mean, there's got to be some media bias going on, and yeah, what like you guys were saying, with the review scores, I think it'd be a good thing to not have to worry about coming up with a number, because sometimes the number can be kind of arbitrary. It's kind of, as a reviewer, it's kind of difficult to decide on a number sometimes, and that just
Hmm.
seems like a chore to have to do that sometimes. But unfortunately, it's just kind of part of the game right now. It's part of the process, and
Hmm.
maybe in the future that'll change. But as of right now, it's just kind of something we have to do. So
Frankie, you want to chime in on this? What's your thoughts on the Scorpio price that Curtis was talking about?
I still think that's way too low, especially with the tech coming into this thing. Like, I still feel that 499 is where the thing's gonna land,
Hmm.
if not more. 499 is like the lowest point I see the Scorpio coming in at, even a year out. Even with the specs and that thing and all the components probably being a little bit cheaper, I still think like for what you're offering in that box, that's a fair price. So, but some of his other stuff, the thing with me and the whole media bias thing, like the people that I see talking about it are like the people who that's like their thing. They have to go and argue with people over console crap, and it's the people who like can tell you like all these different people who work at these sites. Like I can't tell you a single person who works at Kotaku or IGN or GameSpot. Like I don't follow these sites enough to know who any of these people are. I don't care. Like typically if there's a game coming out that I'm interested in, I'll go and read a couple of reviews. I usually don't look at the reviewer, and most of the time like I'll get down to the score. I don't even always look at the score. It's like at some point like I just kind of go through like like three sites I'll go through typically when a game comes out. And if they're kind of saying the same stuff about the game, I'm like, all right, cool, so I guess I have that to expect. But at the end of the day, these reviewers, they're giving you their opinions on a game. So I'm just gonna throw out a quick example. Like I have a review of Jazz Punk up on our site. I gave it a 5. I think that game is just phenomenal. You
Hmm.
have someone like Brent who plays it, and he could be like, "Dude, this is the dumbest game I've ever played. How did you give this a 5? This is dumb."
Hmm.
And that's just the nature of video games. Video games are an art form. Like everyone's gonna take away something different from a game. So I
Yep.
think, like Bender said, it's impossible to be objective about it because games are gonna like Brent played what was that Neverending Nightmares. You know what I mean? Like, that's a game that strikes a personal chord with him. Somebody like me could play it and just it has no effect on me whatsoever. So like some of these conversations just are not. It's impossible to look at them objectively. Like, gaming is subjective. It's just the way it is, especially when it comes to reviews. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't delve into this stuff. I don't care. I guess I just don't care. If there's media bias, there's media bias. I just, whatever. It doesn't affect me. Like, I write for Short Pause. I have my own interests in mind here. Whatever I feel about a game is what I want to share with people. I don't care about systems. I don't care about a lot of this just arbitrary junk that goes along with all this weird media bias crap. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That whole thing just irritates me more often than not, because like, even if it is there, it's just something that just gets spun so much that it's like, just shut up. Then stop reading that site. The other problem I have is a lot of those people then go off and create their own like console-centric sites. It's like, I don't understand it. It just, the whole thing just blows my mind, so I just avoid it altogether. It's irritating. So,
the other thing I wanna point out here too is that I think criticism in video games and video game reviews are important, especially as the prices of these things like continue to rise. Like, you don't always want to go out and fork out $60 for a game that you're not sure that you're going to enjoy. It's one thing to go spend $10 on a movie and come on and be like, yeah, man, I didn't really like that movie. It's another thing to spend $60 on a game and be like, man, this thing sucks. This is not really what I wanted to get out of it. So I do think that criticism and reviews and all that is important, and I don't want anybody to think that that's not what we're saying. But I think at the end of the day, it's if we just got rid of scores, like, we'd be all the better for it. There'd be better conversations around games, be more intelligent conversations around games. We wouldn't have stupid conversations about console wars and all this other crap. Like, we would just go in, talk about the context of a game, what we liked, what we didn't like, and then we could all speak intelligently about it. But because we have these scores, because we have an industry built up around this Metacritic score and the way we currently sit, we're not able to do that always. And, hopefully we'll see that change one day.
yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention too is even just the scores themselves. Like, a lot of people take away different meaning from them. Like, a lot of people, like, a 7 or an 8 is unacceptable for a game, whereas someone like me, like, I get, like, when you start getting down in that 1 to 2 range, okay, that's probably crap. But I think, like, the Alien game that came out, Alien Colonial Marines, like, that thing was down in the 3-4 range. I had a good time with that game. Was it great? Hell no. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to go play it. I mean, it's like $2. Go spend the $2 and play it. I think it's worth that at least. But I had an okay time with it. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't hate it. So it just, again, like, that's a number that everyone, their threshold of what they find acceptable at that number is different. So,
and once again, that's because everybody reviews games differently. So their 4 is based on this criteria, where another site's 4 is based on this criteria. Our 5 or our 8 or whatever is one thing here, but it's different at another site. So you've got all these numbers that mean different things to all these different places. And then you try to consolidate them into one number with Metacritic, and it's not always an apples to apples thing. Like, sometimes it's apples to oranges. It doesn't always work out that way. So once again, it's these stupid numbers that are the problem. And if we could get away from it, we'd be better for it.
I agree with you 100%. And seriously, like, these are the types of emails we like to get from our listeners. I mean, I obviously I said F you to Curtis in jest. I like hearing from Curtis. Curtis isn't afraid to disagree with somebody, but he disagrees in a very mature manner. He wrote a nice long email explaining his points, backing up his points, and I dig that about Curtis. So, Curtis, thanks again for the email. Always good to hear from you. We've got other listeners like Angels and Demons. He always writes in some good stuff. He actually sent us an email late today or yesterday. We weren't able to get it in this week's show, but we will have it in next week's show. It's a very interesting topic. I think it'll be a really good discussion to have. So, Angels and Demons, we didn't forget you. We just don't have time to fit you in this week. Next week, it'll be a real good topic.
Yeah, thanks for the email, Curtis.
Really good to hear from you. We hope you enjoy the show. I hope you can still love us occasionally. We know that if we screw up or if we do something wrong, we know we can count on you to voice your opinion on it. So thank you again for writing in. We really appreciate it. Gentlemen, that's going to do it for this week's show. Where can we find you gaming and tweeting, Bender?
All right. I am on Twitter at Bender_guitar. I'm on PlayStation Network at me_Bender. I'm on Nintendo Network at Bender82 and Xbox Live at me_Bender82.
Franklin.
You can find me on Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place at Viper Strike.
Voice?
As always, Brent, I will be not tweeting at Piccolo930. And of course, that's my PSN ID as well, Piccolo930. On YouTube, I'm Stoic930. On Steam, I'm Piccolo930. And we'll be doing all types of streams on the Short Pause Live channel. So twitch.tv/Short Pause Live. Find the Thursday Night Indie Spotlight on there. We're going to try and fit a few more Indie Spotlights on there this week, too. Try and catch up on some of these games we missed. So keep your eyes on that. Of course, everything else we stream will be on there, too, on our main channel. So check it out.
And we're going to try to make sure that we get a more consistent schedule out to all of you. So, I mean, we've got streams in the morning, we got streams late at night, we got some in the afternoon. It all just depends. But we want to make sure we get a schedule out to you a little bit more consistently so you know when you can expect us to go live. We know that's a very important thing for people that like to watch live streams is a channel has to have a more consistent schedule, and we're slowly getting to that. I do like the morning grinds. Frankie does the Solus Chronicles. I know he's got some short peaks planned. Those are usually a little bit later at night. And of course, Boyce's Thursday Night Indie Spotlights take place at 10 o'clock on Thursday night. But he might also have a couple special episodes in there. But you can find that on our Short Pause channel or on Twitter at The Short Pause. You can find our announcements there. You can find me on Twitter at TheDude1979. You can find me on PSN, TheDude79, and Xbox Live, TheRealDude79. Visit the website, www.shortpause.com, for all your gaming news, podcasts, videos, reviews, and more. Follow us on Twitter at TheShortPause. Check out our YouTube content, Short Pause Gaming. Our live streams are always on Short Pause Live on Twitch. You can find this podcast on iTunes, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and Google Play. If you like this podcast, if you really enjoy it, go over to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, write a nice long review about why you like this podcast. If you're not quite ready to give us a 5-star rating, damn it, I don't want a fake one. We want real ones. Only real 5-star ratings. If you're not quite ready to give us one, send us an email, podcast@shortpause.com. Let us know your criticisms, your feedback, anything, questions, topics you want us to discuss, anything like that, podcast@shortpause.com, or hit us up on the Wave app. Available on iOS and Android devices. You can download the app, find the Short Pause Gaming channel, record a message, question, comment, anything. We can pull it off the app, just like we did last week with Herman. Put it right into the podcast and discuss whatever you have to say. So download the Wave app, iOS devices, Android devices. You can reach us there, or just come over to the website, find the podcast post, go into the comments, leave your comment there. We're always reading them. We're always responding. We love hearing from you guys and girls. So please, any which way you can, reach out to us. We want to hear from you. It's the only way the show is going to get better, and it's the only way we're going to have good stuff to talk about. For Mr. Boyce, Mr. Ayler, and Mr. Holt, I'm Brent Felsing. Thanks again for tuning in. Hopefully, next week, we can talk about the NX. Hopefully. Is anyone getting their hopes up? Is anyone getting their hopes up?
When I say it.
Yeah.
Way to end on a downer note. All right, guys and girls. Thanks again for listening. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hey, if you're still listening to this, if you're a fan of King of Fighters 14, played the demo, liked the game, didn't buy it because, too many video games come out, head on to the PlayStation Network, go to that redeem code button, and enter 576PQMN2K2BP. You're welcome.